County. No one knows America's finest city like he does.
You can't just punt on a Manny Machado prime year.
He's a fourth-generation San Diegan, born and raised in the heart of this community. Passionate, opinionated, and always bringing you the real talk on your teams, your city, and everything in between.
Braden totally knows his stuff. He's ready for the next step. That guy is good.
Live and local, it's the Braden Surprenant Show.
But I think Braden's one of the up-and-coming young stars in the media game in San Diego.
Now, here's your host, Braden Surprenant.
What's up, San Diego? Fresh off of the Padres Roundtable, I'm Braden Surprenant. This is the Braden Surprenant Show on San Diego's #1 sports station, 97.3 The Fan. Getting logged into YouTube here. Very quick turnaround for all of us involved here. At 97.3 The Fan. Crisello, I thought, did a great job hosting the roundtable in Ben's absence. Had a lot of great discussion points with the San Diego Padres, as we now have a Padres off day today. And on the off day, they sit right now as the second best team in baseball, but nothing really to scoff at. If you look at overall what the Padres have done this season, and I think that's kind of where I'm going to start today's show, and we'll recap yesterday's game in a little bit. But you look at the San Diego Padres for their first 20-something games, whatever it is, at 17-8, they've played 25 games in 2025. And Chris Ello asked the question, what letter grade do you give the San Diego Padres? I think it's an excellent question to ask at this point in the season. Kind of an early spot in the year. What letter grade do you give the San Diego Padres for their start? I'd like to hear from you guys. 833-288-0973, 833-288-0973. We're going to have a couple of good guests on today as well, and talking NFL draft. We'll get to that later on in the show. We have the NFL draft show coming up at 5 o'clock. We'll re-air the roundtable at 4, as Gwen and Chris will take over at 2 o'clock for me, as we take you up to 2 o'clock. What letter grade would you give the Padres? Everybody on the roundtable, except for Matt Scraby, said an A, and Matt Scraby said a B+. I'm going to go with an A as well. There's not a lot to complain about when it comes to this team. I mean, you could lay it out for me if you want. And there's a lot of you that like to complain about and nitpick on a lot of things for the Padres. And I'm not being a Padres defender or a Padres homer. I'm a fair guy. All right, if they need to, if they're not playing well, we're going to say it. And if they're playing extremely well, we're going to say it. But you look at what they've done so far this year, I give them an A. They're 17-8. Now, they have some injuries to their lineup, and they're trying the best they can with what they got. But I go back to what happened in the offseason, or should I say what did not happen in the offseason. And everybody was complaining that the Padres roster was not good enough to compete in the National League. You know, wasn't believing in the core group of players that the Padres had. I think there's something to be said about continuity and camaraderie. We talked about that on the roundtable as well. But based on the expectations of this year's team, the start that they have had to the season, I mean, did anybody think the Padres were going to sweep Atlanta to get the season started and then sweep Cleveland and go 7-0? They're one game out of the best record in Major League Baseball at 17-8. They got a game lead on the Dodgers and the Giants. And to be quite frank, Padres have played better than LA. Dodgers started the season 8-0. And since the 8-0 start, they've gone 8-9 in their next 17 games or whatever it is. If the Padres were playing really, really poor at full strength, I think you'd have something to gripe about. You can nitpick all you want on certain players. And we got the stats of what players have stepped up since Merrill's been on the IL, what players need to do a little bit better. Yeah, the core group of guys and the big three have to put the ball over the fence a little bit more, probably. But the start that the Padres have gotten off to, I don't know why. I don't really find too many reasons to complain about. They have arguably the best pitching staff in Major League Baseball. Their offense has been great with the way they've been able to move, put the ball in play and find different ways to win. The run differential's plus 29. That's third best in Major League Baseball behind the Cubs, who have just bludgeoned people, and the New York Mets, who are on a 7-game win streak. I mean, look at the rest of the National League. I think Tony brought it up and made a good point. I mean, they've played some pretty good competition, with the exception of the Rockies. The Rockies are awful. I mean, they're not very good. But you play an Atlanta team that's starting to come. They're coming back up to 500. They're 10-14. They're 4 games under right now. You play the Chicago Cubs, who are going to be a problem in the National League. I mean, the Cubs, I think, if not mistaken, just won the season series against LA. They did. They took 4-7. If the Cubs played a 7-game series against the Dodgers, they just took 4. They just won Game 7 last night. Cubs have the season series against the Dodgers. Padres split with the Cubs. Only had to play them 6 times. But that's another team you've had to deal with early in the season. The American League teams. You look at Cleveland. They're 14-10. They're a half game out of first place in the AL Central, behind Detroit, who's in first place. And then you play the Astros, who are a game out of first place. So you've played some good competition. You have the second best record in Major League Baseball. You lead the National League West. And overall, there's really nothing to scoff at when it comes to this Padres team. That's from a positive standpoint. That's why I give them an A. I think their role players have done a great job in filling in. I was on Tyler Wade after his first day. Talking about small sample size, he's done a good job. Tyler Wade, in his 8 games that he's played, is 6 for 30 with 2 runs scored, got an RBI, has gotten 6 walks. He's got a .414 on-base percentage, and his WRC plus is 111. That's since he's been pressed into action. That'll suffice. Tyler Wade's doing the best he can. He's helping the ball club. Jose Iglesias has been great. He's hit 300 since he started playing. His slugging percentage isn't very high, but his OPS is 732. He's getting on base. He has 6 RBIs, 2 walks, 4 doubles. He's 15. He's got 15 hits and 55 plate appearances. You got to like what you're seeing out of some of these players that are just trying to help the ball club out. Now, that being said, you're starting to realize why some of these players are not everyday players. I think you've seen it with Gavin Sheets at first base. He does not play that great of a first base. There's a lot of balls that should be picked that haven't been picked. And you know what? He wasn't brought in to be a first baseman all the time. He was brought in to be a DH and hit against right-handed pitching. He's done a great job with that. But again, playing every day might expose him a little bit. And there's players like that in Major League Baseball that are just role players. You look at the rest of the roster, I think Oscar Gonzalez has done a good job filling in for the San Diego Padres. I think he's hit pretty well. He's had a couple of, he had an error on the base pass over the series in Detroit, kind of kicked the ball around in the outfield. Not an everyday starter, but a serviceable player in the absence of 3 core players being out for the San Diego Padres. What letter grade do you give the Padres their first 25 games? I think it's hard to give them anything but an A. With the expectations of the season, how they're supposed to compete with the rest of the National League for, quote, not doing anything during the offseason, at least to the standard that we're used to seeing, a couple of years in a row now. They sit in first place in the National League West and have played really good baseball in a division that is the best division in Major League Baseball. Padres have 17 wins. Dodgers have 16 wins. Giants with 16 wins. Diamondbacks with 14 wins. I mean, those are the top teams in not only the National League West, but the National League and even Major League Baseball. But right now, all they really have to do is kind of tread water. They did, and I mentioned it yesterday. They got to play around 500 baseball, and they should be getting some good news coming up next week. It sounds like Luis Arraez is only going to miss the next 3 games. So against Tampa this weekend, Tampa is not that great. They're not doing that well. They're 10-14 on the year, have one of the worst records in Major League Baseball. Still a decent team, but not great, not a world beater. An A+ would be perfect. An A is an A. I mean, it could be like a 94%. It's not perfect. But I'd give him an A. So they got the Rays this weekend. They're going to have to do that without Luis Arraez. And then after that, it should be close, maybe pushing it on the Giant series for Jackson Merrill. He should be back before they hit the road yet again. And when you start the month of May, there's a lot of games lining up for the Padres that are very doable in terms of scheduling. So we're just getting started here on the Braden Surprenant Show. What do you give letter grade for the Padres their first 25 games? We talked about on the roundtable. I give them an A. What do you guys think? 833-288-0973, 833-288-0973. Later on in the show, we're going to talk some NFL draft a little bit later on with JT O'Sullivan at 12:35. Eddie Brown's going to join us at 1:35, kind of give us his first round mock, what to expect tonight in the NFL draft. We'll have our draft show later on this afternoon. I'll give you my draft preview as well. Got some good news from San Diego State yesterday. Anybody see that? Magoon Guath officially announcing on his Instagram that he's coming back to San Diego State. Love to see that. San Diego State's got themselves in a good position right now for a really good year next year. I mean, they have survived the transfer portal. They picked up 3 players. They got 2 really good freshmen coming in. We'll talk a little bit about that and how they've been so successful, the basketball program in general, at keeping players from leaving. I mean, Magoon Guath turned down a significant amount of money to come back to be at Aztec. San Diego State's taking care of them with their NIL fund. But there's more to it than just money. He could have got more money at Michigan and Kentucky, but he decided to stay here at San Diego State. Why are the Aztecs able to do that? We'll talk about that later on the show at 12:35 as well. But when we come back, want to get to your phone calls. Kevin, Gary, Jacob, Mike, we're going to get to you. What is your letter grade for the Padres at this point in the season? I give them an A. What do you say? We'll get back to that when we come back on the Braden Surprenant Show on San Diego's #1 sports station, 97.3 The Fan.
I'm Chelsea Messenger, helping you beat the books with the BetMGM Network. Let's take the Nationals in the first 5 innings over the Orioles at -125. Cade Povich goes for Baltimore today, and the O's have lost every single game he started. Povich just gave up 7 runs to the Reds and has a 6.38 ERA. Meanwhile, the Nats have their ace on the mound in Mackenzie Gore, and they've been the better team overall this year, especially at home. They're 7-4 when playing in Washington. Bet smarter and beat the books. Download the BetMGM app. Please gamble responsibly.
Still getting around to that fix on your car? You got this. On eBay, you'll find millions of parts guaranteed to fit. Doesn't matter if it's a major engine repair or your first time swapping your windshield wipers. eBay has that part you need, ready to click perfectly into place for changes big and small. Loud or quiet, find all the parts you need at prices you'll love. Guaranteed to fit every time. But you already know that. eBay. Things, people, love. Eligible items only. Exclusions apply.
Hello, my friends. It is Woodsy here. I've got news that'll put a little extra spring in your step. Sedano Ford and La Mesa dropping deals that are straight up next level. For a limited time, they're opening the vault with employee pricing to everyone. Yeah, that means you. You heard that right. You don't have to work there to save like you do. Check this out. A brand new 2025 Ford Maverick, just $219 a month. This is a serious deal on a seriously smart truck. It's efficient. It's versatile. It's totally built for everything, from your weekday grind to the last-minute road trips. You'll love how it handles the streets of San Diego and how it fits your lifestyle. Imagine rolling down the windows, catching the breeze, and feeling like you just won spring. So go see the team at Manny Sedano Ford in La Mesa, or make your move online at sedanoford.com, our one-stop shop for spring savings, fresh rides, and that new car feeling. Trust me, when you go into Manny Sedano Ford in La Mesa, they're going to make you feel like one of the family. They're even going to give you the prices that their family spends. Visit sedanoford.com for complete details.
I'm Bob Burke, founder and chairman of Burke America Parts Group, a family of brands that includes RepairClinic.com, an appliance and HVAC parts solution company that's grown into an international brand. Before AmericanEagle.com, we partially launched a new technology platform developed by another firm. American Eagle helped take our technology to a whole new level with digital marketing, software development, and business insights into our key markets, appliances, HVAC, and outdoor power equipment, and did so both on time and on budget. AmericanEagle.com has the resources, experience, and talent needed to produce solutions. Our new technology platform developed by AmericanEagle.com has produced tremendous results with higher traffic, conversion, engagement, and online revenue. If you have any home repairs you need to take care of, check us out at RepairClinic.com. If you need a world-class website or technology project, then I would highly recommend AmericanEagle.com.
Call AmericanEagle.com at 773-NETWORK. That's AmericanEagle.com, 773-NETWORK.
We have a great pool and spa in our backyard, but my parents cleaning it themselves wasn't working out. Then they hired a random guy, but it was always dirty.
Dude, it's just algae.
Finally, they got it right by hiring GL Pools.
At GL Pools, we know you worked hard for your backyard, and so will we. Contact GL Pools today and mention radio for one free month of pool service up to $200 in value with no contract, no commitment. GLPools.com. Local to San Diego County and family owned since 2006. That's GLPools.com.
Are your monthly bills keeping you up at night, wondering how you got so behind? Hey, I'm Roger Moore, CEO of Loan Pronto. I get it. Life is expensive now. Insurance, groceries, cars. And then there's the credit card debt with those obscene interest rates. It's time to regain your financial freedom. And that's what we offer at Loan Pronto, using the power of the equity in your home. We have multiple ways to get you the cash you need, and most clients close in 2 weeks or less, and many don't even require an appraisal. And listen, rates have been plummeting recently. We just locked a homeowner in with an APR in the low fives, saving her over $1,000 per month, and put $10,000 in her pocket. Life-changing money. Whether you're drowning in debt, have a nosebleed rate you got last year, need home improvements, or simply need cash in your pocket, we can help you accomplish this goal in record time. Call us today and get started with no hard credit pull, just a conversation. LoanPronto.com, 619-207-4336. LoanPronto.com. That's LoanPronto.com.
Equal housing lender, NMLS 1661781, subject to lender approval, NMLSconsumeraccess.org.
A great lawn is like a great sports team. It takes expertise and a little extra care to really stand out. That's where True Green comes in. They're the official lawn care treatment provider of the PGA Tour, so they know a thing or two about keeping grass looking like a fairway. Here's the best part. It's more affordable than you think, and they'll even match any competitor's price. Plus, True Green backs it all up with a satisfaction guarantee. Not happy? They'll come back between visits to make it right. Don't wait. Head to TrueGreen.com today. Let the pros do the work while you sit back and enjoy the results.
Baseball coverage on 97 through the Fan, presented by T-Mobile. At T-Mobile.com, we had a great deal on an iPhone 16 Pro. Braden Surprenant show on a Thursday, a Padres off day. Days seem like they go by so slow. I'm a big sports fan, though. I love the NFL draft, even though I don't have an NFL team anymore. If you want to talk NFL draft, I'll take your phone calls on NFL draft too. 833-288-0973, 833-288-0973. I know there's Charger fans out there that want to talk about the NFL draft. I don't necessarily know if I want to talk about the Chargers or not, but today's a big day for a lot of people in college athletics, big day for a lot of athletes out there. There are football players that will go through they went through a rigorous process that will see their job interviews, see if they get their job applications. It's fun to watch. I broke down a lot of tape last night on a lot of different players. I love that aspect of football, but we're going to talk about that later on in the show. And we will also be having our draft show again coming up at 5:00. Later on in our show, JT O'Sullivan, former NFL quarterback who does live here in town, did spend some time coaching some high school football, is doing a lot of analyst work right now. He's going to come on to talk about the quarterbacks in this year's draft. And then later on at 1:35, we're going to have Eddie Brown on the show, talk about the first round of the NFL draft. I do want to get your letter grades for the first 25 games of the Padres season. We talked about on the roundtable. If you missed any of the roundtable, you can get it where you get your podcast. You can go back on YouTube and watch as well. We will also be re-airing it at 4:00 today instead of 5:00. It will lead us in to our draft show with me, Chris Ello, and Matt Scraby. If you want to join the show today, 833-288-0973, 833-288-0973. If you're in the YouTube chat and you haven't given us a like yet, be sure to do that. We really appreciate that. And if you are in the YouTube chat, go ahead and leave your letter grade there as well. We will talk about it on the air. Let's get out to the phones, out to UTC. Gary wants to weigh in on the Braden Surprenant show. Gary, you're batting leadoff. What's going on, man?
Hey, good morning. It's good to hear you. Good show. And I agree with you. I give the Padres an A so far for the reasons that you mentioned, not only here, but also the roundtable, which I listen to. The one thing that I keep thinking about, everybody does this every year. They kind of semi-panic in April, but they got to keep in mind that it's early. But I'd like to point out that balancing that along with getting some wins in April later on, when in late August and September, when it really counts, you look back and say, oh, if we only could have gotten that win here or that win there. These are the kinds of wins that they're getting with maybe role players, guys all of a sudden coming up with a key hit or a good shutout being pitched. It all counts, and that's why I give that letter grade.
Well, Gary, I agree with you, man. A letter grade for sure. Because of the hot start that they have had. It's a great start. I mean, they're doing it with some holes in the lineup. They're doing it with not necessarily the greatest of outings out of the pitching staff sometimes. But you look at the Padres overall. I mean, I was watching the game the other day with my dad. My dad literally said after Nick Pivetta and company beat the Tigers on Tuesday, he goes, how are they winning games with this team? It's got a lot of different things. I mean, you look at their overall roster right now with all the injuries. I mean, it's not one of the best rosters it's not one of the best lineups in baseball as currently assembled. When you start getting these players back, and then you can build out the depth again with these guys that have been pressed into starting action going back to the bench, then all of a sudden it's a different story. But considering the injuries, I mean, how many teams still have the best record in baseball or second best record in baseball when they are missing 3 of their 6 core players? There's not a lot. Not a lot. I mean, they got better records than some teams that are at full strength right now that they're competing with in the National League. 833-288-0973, 833-288-0973. Let's get out to Jacob calling from Arizona. Jacob out in Phoenix. What's going on, man?
Not a whole lot. Braden, how you doing?
I'm doing well. Hopefully it's not too hot out there. Usually Arizona's nice in the springtime.
Oh, it's not too bad right now. Just give it a month.
Yeah.
I'm giving the Padres an A, and anybody who's not giving the Padres an A hasn't been paying attention. They are throwing a third of the lineup out there are El Paso Chihuahuas, and they're still clinging on to 500 in the last 10 games. 5-5 in the last.
Oh no, we're losing them.
Guys on the, you losing me, Brady?
Oh, we got you back. Good. All right, continue.
Half the guys that you got out there right now are either from the Chihuahuas or they're guys that came off the bench and are getting everyday starts, and they weren't meant to do all that. And they're still 5-5 in the last 10. Second best record in baseball, best record in the National League West. And so if you're not giving them an A for that, you don't know ball.
You don't know ball. That's right, Jacob. Jacob's going to be our caller that likes to call in and say they don't know ball. But yeah, and the only reason why the Padres don't have the best record in Major League Baseball right now is because the Mets have won 7 straight ball games. They just swept the Phillies. I mean, they're on a little bit of a hot stretch right now. And you look at their roster too; they got holes on their roster also. You're playing 5-5 ball with the depleted roster. You're treading water. That's what you have to do right now. You're treading water. Manny said it. Got to keep the boat afloat. 100%. Now, they got to go out there in this weekend. They got to be able to take at least 2 out of 3 from the Rays. I think, even though they've had a lot of success at home, asking for a sweep is ridiculous. Got to be able to take 2 out of 3 from Tampa and then split with the Giants. It'd be nice to take both games against the Giants since you only play them twice coming up. But I think it's a great time to get back at home because, again, you Padres fans have done such a great job in making it such a home field advantage at Petco Park. It is such a home field advantage at Petco Park. Look at the Padres splits. I mean, it's still early. It's an early sample size, and Chris mentioned the splits. I mean, it is drastically better at Petco, almost to like an elite level. I mean, they're 12-1. Just record-wise, you look at individual stats, their ERA is sub 2 from a pitching standpoint. Their whip is sub 1. from a pitching standpoint. Their batting averages are high. They're doing a great job at home. That was a good, as best time as ever to get home, be able to beat up on the Rays, hopefully, and then at least get Luis Arraez back for the Giants series. 833-288-0973, 833-288-0973. Let's get out to Mike and Ramona. Mike on the mountain. What's going on, man?
Hey, Brendan. Beautiful day up here. Blue skies and sunny. Hey, if we didn't have all the injuries, I would give them an A if we were 15-10. But with 3 of our 6 core players out, as you mentioned, I'd give them an A+. I'm glad Arraez is coming back soon. And something we overlook, when we lost Tanner Scott and everybody was freaking out, we couldn't afford to pay Tanner Scott hater money, and nor did we really need him, because our bullpen is the best bullpen in MLB, not the National League. We got our 6, 7, 8, and 9 guys. All we need is 5 innings from the starter, and our bullpen will pick it up. I mean, they've performed admirably. So that's why I say A+. And I also believe if we took 3 of the 6 core players away from the Dodgers or the Giants, they wouldn't be so close on our tail. They would have lost more. I really believe that. And I just want to finish it up with, I hope John Lynch and Shanahan do well in the draft tonight and get the 49ers back on track.
Mike, appreciate the phone call. Shout out to John Lynch and the Niners. Let's see what they got in store in this draft. They're still dealing with trying to get their quarterback on a contract extension. George Kittle is definitely, looking for some more money. I mean, you got a lot of good tight ends in this year's draft. Maybe they go tight end first round. I don't know if Tyler Warren's not going to fall to him, but you never know. Maybe that might be the replacement there, and then you let George Kittle go somewhere else if you're the San Francisco 49ers. Dangle him as trade bait. I'll talk more about the draft later on in the show. 833-288-0973, 833-288-0973. Couple of tidbits from yesterday's game in a 6-0 loss to the Detroit Tigers. Here's something from Kevin Acee in his daily newsletter about Machado. He said Machado was overall bullish on how the Padres played the past week. He provided one caveat. If you want to look at something, it's probably going to be that we could have been a little bit better with runners in scoring position and getting a couple more runs on the board. The Padres hit 146 with runners in scoring position on the 6-game road trip. That's the bad news. The good news is they had 41 at-bats with runners in scoring position, which means you're getting guys on and you're getting them in scoring position. I heard that from Tony, and I'll get to the exact line from Tony when we come back on runners in scoring position. Gives you a new perspective, but I want to continue your phone calls. 833-288-0973, 833-288-0973. Kevin, Chris, Josh, we'll get you when we come back. Give the Padres a letter grade first 25 games. What is it? Let me know on the Braden Surprenant Show, San Diego Union-Tribune Sports Station 97.3 The Fan.
Quinn and Chris on the Fan.
If there's anything I like more than an NFL draft show, it's a pregame to the NFL draft show. That's what we have from 2 to 4 on Thursday.
Listen to Quinn and Chris weekdays from 2 to 6 on 97.3 The Fan.
Here's how easy it is to get the yard you deserve with Moon Valley Nurseries. Our job is to design. Your job is to kick back. Our job is to deliver. Your job is to relax. Our job is to plant. Your job is to enjoy. Moon Valley Nurseries does it all, making it easy for you to get the yard you've always wanted. Guaranteed. Get 50% off plus free planting. Visit moonvalleynurseries.com.
Jack here with my $3.99 jumbo breakfast platter. It's got French toast sticks, scrambled eggs, hash browns, and bacon or sausage. Ooh, heavy. Let me just set it down. Guys, it broke the table again. Get so much more. Plus tax, limited time only. Price and participation may vary.
Welcome to Jack in the Box. San Diego to Tijuana, bus leaving in 3 minutes.
Hey, how are you, babe?
Hi, I'm good, but I wish you were here in Tijuana.
I know, I wish you were here in San Diego. Hey, I just sent you a song.
I love it, but it made me miss you even more.
Next stop, Tijuana Central Bus Terminal.
Hey, go outside.
Wait, why?
What? What are you doing here?
Surprise.
With AT&T, use your plan in Mexico like in the 619. 2 countries, 1 network. Only with AT&T. Available for U.S. customers. Requires eligible plan. Additional speed, coverage, and other restrictions apply. Visit att.com/one network for details.
Need inspiration? Shop Ralph's. For mouth-watering meals and appetizing ingredients. Our low prices add up to big savings. Plus over $600 in digital coupons each week. And up to $1 off per gallon at the pump. At Ralph's, you always get big flavors and big savings. Ralph's, fresh for everyone. Fuel restrictions apply.
Save big on pork. Right now, you can save 50% on select pork chops, roasts, or ribs with your card. Ralph's, fresh for everyone.
Car crash? Do you need help? Call the Barnes firm now. 1-800-8-million.
Prices are going up everywhere. Tariffs may drive up costs across the country, but not at Legacy Box.
Why? Because we're proudly 100% American made. Every tape, film reel, and photo you send stays right here in the USA, digitized by skilled technicians who know your memories are priceless.
Introducing the Legacy Box All-American Sale. Just $9 per tape. Not $15, not $12, just $9.
We're the nation's #1 digitizer, trusted by over 1 million families because we've made it simple. Just fill your Legacy Box with old tapes, film reels, and photos. We'll digitize them by hand and return everything. Plus, digital copies on the cloud you can relive and share forever.
With Legacy Box, your memories are safe from tariffs and safe from time. Heat, humidity, and age are already destroying your family's history. So take advantage of our limited time $9 tape sale.
Visit legacybox.com/value to lock in savings today. That's legacybox.com/value. Legacy Box, American made, trusted by families.
Spring into deals with fresh savings at Lowe's. Right now, get 5 Stay Green or premium 2 cubic foot mulch bags for just $10. Plus, get up to 35% off select major appliances and save $50 on every $500 you spend on select LG appliances. Shop in-store or online today. Lowe's, we help, you save. Valid through 4/30. Selection varies by location. While supplies last. See associate at Lowe's.com for more details or qualifying items. Excludes Alaska and Hawaii.
Check engine or ABS light on? Take the guesswork out of your warning lights with O'Reilly Veriscan. It's free. Ask for O'Reilly Veriscan.
O'Reilly Auto Parts.
Get ready for Cinco de Mayo with Total Wine & More, your cocktail central. From margaritas to cervezas and tequila, we've got everything you need for the perfect fiesta. With the lowest prices for over 30 years, you'll always find what you love and love what you find. Only at Total Wine & More.
Drink responsibly, B21.
This is Maggie Gray with an Odyssey Sports Minute. Green Bay, Wisconsin, population 107,000, is about to host the NFL Draft for the first time ever. It's a city built for football, but is it built for 250,000 tourists? Hotels are scarce. Streets are narrow. This isn't Vegas or Chicago. It's Titletown. And that's what makes it special. If Green Bay can pull this off with shuttles running, bars packed, and Lambeau looking like football mecca, it will be one of the biggest wins this city ever had. Small town, massive moment. I'm Maggie Gray.
Check out 97.3 The Fan's weekly Padres Roundtable every Thursday at 10 a.m. Delivered by San Diego Roundtable Pizza. For takeout or delivery, go to roundtablepizza.com. Roundtable Pizza. It's pizza royalty.
11:33 on a Thursday, NFL Draft Day today. We'll talk more about the NFL Draft later on in the show. We'll also get to our draft show today at 5 o'clock. I will be on with Chris Ello and Matt Scraby, and a couple of maybe surprise guests as well. We will have JT O'Sullivan on in the next hour to talk about the quarterbacks specifically in this year's draft and maybe a little bit in the quarterbacks in next year's draft. A lot of people mention that the quarterbacks in next year's draft are an even better draft class. JT O'Sullivan was interviewed by Tom Kraslovic of the San Diego Union-Tribune about some of the quarterbacks, and he's got an interesting comparison for Shedeur Sanders, and a pretty big name currently in the NFL of who he thinks he could potentially be. We'll talk more about that with him at 12:35. Coming up in just a little bit, we'll have our sports thread. A lot going on in the sports world as we have a Padres off day today. That will be coming up in about 15 minutes or so. But we want to get back to your phone calls, talking Padres letter grade for the first 25 games. We mentioned this on the roundtable. I gave them an A. Most people are giving them an A. 833-288-0973, 833-288-0973. Let's get out to Chris in San Diego. Chris, you're on the Braden Surprenant Show. What's going on, man?
Hey, Braden, what's going on? How you doing?
I'm doing well.
Hey, I just want to say A+ for the Padres, first of all. And before I even jump into everything, I just want to say the radio program from this morning all the way up till now has been an A+. It's been a lot of fun to listen to. Keep up the good work, you guys. So as long as your bosses are hearing, I just want you guys to know you guys do a fantastic job.
Appreciate it.
Keeping us fired up. Happy with the Padres. The Padres have been just doing their best what they can. We got the 3 guys that are out. They're going to be coming back. It's just going to be boosting up the team, making them bigger and stronger. They're playing well with what they got. I'd like to say I feel bad watching Connor Joe just trying to, picking his swings down there. I'd like to see him elevate a little bit. But, just happy with what the Padres are doing. They keep marching forward. We're only going to get better. And not to mention the 3 that we're missing that are hurt. We still have Darvish. And there's all that little rambling about Musgrove on the back end, maybe peeking his head in at the end of the season. It's exciting. It's a good time to be a San Diego Padres fan.
It is a good time to be a San Diego Padres fan. Chris, I appreciate the phone call. Thanks for all the kind words as well. Love talking about. I mean, the round table's fun. I like the round table. It's the first time that we all get to be, all on air at the same time, with Sam and with, Ben and Woods in the morning and afternoon show and being able to talk with Tony. It's cool. And you get different perspectives from all 3 shows that don't get a lot of airtime together. Just kind of pass the baton here on the talk shows, but we really appreciate it. I'm glad you guys enjoy it. If you haven't checked it out yet, again, if you're driving around town later this afternoon, 4:00, we will re-air the Roundtable. It's commercial free. Thanks to our friends at Roundtable Pizza Royalty. They will, we'll have that at 4:00 today. It's usually at 5:00 on the re-air, but with the draft show, it's going to be at 4:00 today. And then you can also watch it on YouTube. It's on our YouTube page at 97 Through the Fan SD. You can go find it there as well. 833-288-0973, 833-288-0973. Padres letter grades. Again, it's nice to evaluate on these off days. These Thursday off days are going to be kind of eval of the last week or so, especially since there's so many off days on Thursdays for the Padres. So we'll be able to get it a little bit more. And as Ferris Khan said in the chat on YouTube, it's we're not 25% of the season. No, we're not. Chris brought it up. But I think it's a good time to kind of take a breather and see what we have gone through already as Padres fans. Let's get out to Kevin in Chula Vista. Kevin, what's going on, man?
Hey, Braden, great show as everybody else has chimed in on. It's a lot of fun listening to different thoughts here. I would go A-, and to borrow the phrase that another caller used, if you don't give them an A, you don't know anything about baseball. I would submit that the traditional feeling in baseball is you play 500 and you'd have your winning record at home. They've not played 500 on the road for various reasons, and so that has to be an area where you have to give them a little bit of a negative mark. And so that may change. It's a long season ahead. We know that. There are also, as Scraby pointed out, I think Matt is right on target. There's a lot of yellow flags, and we've discussed those ad nauseum here. My 2 biggest yellow flags are Yu Darvish and Jackson Merrill. I don't understand. Maybe you have better information than me, and please chime in. I don't understand how Jackson Merrill goes from a boo-boo, it's going to be a day or 2, up until now we're looking at, what has he been gone, 2 or 3 weeks? Where did this happen? When did it happen? How did it happen? I don't understand why the Padres continue to treat injury information like it's some type of nuclear secret. Just be straight up with people so we don't have unrealistic expectations. And for goodness sakes, it's no big deal. It's baseball. It's a fun sport. It's a game. It doesn't need to be treated like this. So when AJ comes on tomorrow, I want to know from AJ, I hope someone asks him, why did this go from a boo-boo to a super serious gone for 3 weeks? I didn't see the man go off the field in a heap.
Didn't see that either, Kevin. I appreciate the phone call. Here's the thing about hamstring. I have had multiple hamstring injuries, and it depends what part of your hamstring that you injured, how long it's going to be. If he injured his hamstring, kind of middle of his hamstring on the side, a little bit further down your leg, it's not going to take as long of a time, but it's still something that aggravates a lot. If you pull it closer to your glute or you strain it closer to your glute, it's going to be 4 to 6 weeks. And I'm telling, like, 4 to 6 weeks of you think you're back, and then you get a little bit of on a quick twitch, you get a little pull, and all of a sudden you get set back again. I mean, they're just nagging injuries. And when you talk about Jackson Merrill and a hamstring injury, especially a guy like him that needs to be quick in the outfield and have quick movements and have that utilize his game, they're going to be extra cautious with him. And so, I mean, he's really on pace to have like kind of the traditional hamstring injury in time back. Now, the Padres not making it sound as severe as it was in the media. I mean, that's their prerogative. They don't have to tell us anything. They really don't. I mean, they're just they've done this now for the last couple of years. They can say what they want to say about the players and say in terms of injury how much they want to, dive into the injury and whatever. That's they're going to do what they want to do. I'm not telling you need to believe them. I'm not telling you don't need to believe them, but that's just how most sports organizations work now. I don't know if it's a competitive advantage. Kevin pointed it out. Again, it's just baseball. It's not big of a deal. I don't know how much Jackson Merrill wants his medical out there. It's a slippery slope with the medical stuff. But they don't have to tell us anything. But again, there's no timetable for Jackson Merrill. It sounds like he's progressing to be able to potentially be back before right on the Giants series. If not, it sounded like in the latest daily tidbits from Kevin Acee that he should be back before their next road trip. On the next road trip. So if that's the case, I'm sure we'll get more updates tomorrow. Then he'll be back. But those hamstring injuries, if you come back too soon, you could set back another 4 to 6 weeks. And that's the last thing you want to see out of Jackson Merrill. He comes back a little bit and you feel it when you swing, you feel it when you sprint, you feel it when you quickly stop, you feel it run around the bases. I mean, there's going to be times where you feel it. And it can re-injure and it can aggravate. It takes a long time. 833-288-0973, 833-288-0973. Mike in San Diego, you're on the Braden Surprenant Show. What's going on, man?
Hey, how's it going?
It's going well.
Hey, I got a question, or I got a little concern, and at this point, I would say the Pods are at a B plus. I am a little worried as we're just basically a game ahead of the Dodgers and Giants, and I believe 2 games up behind on the Diamondbacks. My concern is we got 3 guys that are batting over 300. That is Tatis, Sheets, and Merrill. And then we got 3 guys that are batting over 280. And the rest of the team it's almost like, oh, Lord. I watched these series, Detroit and Houston, and my worry is the pitching. Along with batting. I mean, what is your thoughts?
I don't have too much concern. I appreciate the phone call, Mike. I mean, it's a very early on in the season. Again, the Padres, from a batting average perspective, are one of the best hitting teams in Major League Baseball. There's a couple of guys, obviously, that could probably hit a little bit better in the absence of Jackson Merrill and Jake Cronenworth and some of the core players that are missing at this point in time. But, I mean, overall, they're playing good baseball, and the only times that they have not played good baseball, and Sam Levitt brought it up on the roundtable, and I totally agree, they haven't been getting their ass kicked. I mean, the 2 games that they lost to Houston were by 2 runs and 1 run. Aside from yesterday, which was kind of an anomaly, I mean, the Padres have lost by like 1 run or 2 runs max. And even in the games in Chicago where they got into a severe deficit, they were able to come back. So they're playing good ball. They're hitting the ball well. The Detroit series, they're doing the best they can with what they got. And again, they got to just kind of tread water. And they're 5-5 in their last 10. That's treading water. Now, in order to continue that, they're going to have to take 2 out of 3 from Tampa, I would imagine, and hopefully continue their winning ways at Petco Park. 833-288-0973, 833-288-0973. Before we get to the sports thread, let's get to Josh in Vista. Josh, what's going on, man?
Not much. Another beautiful day in America's finest city here.
That's right. It's always a great day in America's finest city. What do you got for me today, dude?
Two quick things for you. I wondered if you had the inside scoop on TCU receiver Jack Besh. I think he could be a good fit. I'm a distant Charger fan these days, very casual, but love to see them lose, but also kind of enjoyed them to see them win. I'm in a weird spot with them. But
Yeah, that makes absolutely no sense, Josh. that makes literally no sense.
know.
I like seeing them lose, but when they win, it's kind of cool too. I mean, just
It's
so
a weird.
fine. It's fine. You can be a Chargers
They threw me off
fan.
for a lot of years.
Anyhow,
Anyhow, I wondered what you thought of him. And then I had one other quick thing. I know you play softball as well. I'm in a co-ed league, and I wondered on a quick little thing. There was a lady who hit a blooper to right field. My right fielder grabbed the ball and threw out at first, and it was a huge controversy.
Oh, no.
We were losing at the time. I wondered what you thought of that. Big fan of the show, man, and I'll let you go.
Well, I appreciate that, Josh. I personally wouldn't do that in co-ed. I would not. I get it. If you really want to, like, to me, like, co-ed's more about having fun than anything else. I guess it just depends how competitive your co-ed league is. If I was playing the other team, Josh, I would have chirped that guy big time. I absolutely would have chirped him for doing that. So probably not a great look. I get where you're coming from. Maybe it was competitive, but I probably wouldn't have done that. But again, all situations are different. Guys, it's a championship game or something like that. Okay, sure, whatever. But I would have chirped the man if I was on the other team. In terms of Jack Besh, he's pretty good. I mean, he came in as a tight end from LSU to TCU and ended up probably being our best weapon aside from Savion Williams, but Savion was more of a just athlete all over the place. Jack's got a really, cool story, really emotional offseason for him this offseason with his brother Tiger Besh, being killed in New Orleans during that attack that event that happened during the offseason. His brother's a hero. Tiger Besh is a hero, and Jack went out there in the Senior Bowl and wore his number and ended up getting the game-winning touchdown in the Senior Bowl. He's got a really bright future. He's a really good player. I think he fits on a lot of different teams. Maybe they got the Charger TCU pipeline continuing with Darius Davis and Quentin Johnston and all the other Charger TCU players that they have had this year. Of course, the best TCU football player, LaDainian Tomlinson. But no, he's a good player. Would love to see him on the chart. Love to see him on a team, to be honest with you. That's where I'm at now with the TCU players in the NFL draft. We'll talk more about that later on in the show. Again, appreciate all the phone calls. A lot going on in the sports world. It's draft day today. Got a lot of other things going on, but let's get to today's sports thread.
You know that group chat? The one that's always blowing up with the biggest sports takes, debates, and breaking news?
You got barbecue back there, and you didn't invite me?
Yeah, we've got that too. Welcome to the Sports Thread, where we break down the top 5 stories in sports, just like you would with your crew.
Oh, no! Disaster! What a bad idea!
No filters, no silence, just real talk.
Here's Adam Klug. Sports Thread. Got the NBA playoffs, NHL playoffs, NFL draft. A lot going on in the sports world.
Number 1.
A lot in the sports world, but we will start in the world of baseball, our bread and butter here. The Dodgers lost a wild back-and-forth game to the Cubs yesterday, 7-6, and are now 5-5 in their last 10 games. Hashtag you hate to see it. The Dodgers received some bad news prior to the game as well when it was announced that Blake Snell would pause his throwing routine as he rehabs from left shoulder inflammation, with Dave Roberts saying they'll slow play his throwing program moving forward and that Snell will probably get his shoulder looked at when the team returns to LA. On a scale from 1 to 10, how concerned should the Dodgers be between their record and Blake Snell's injury?
How concerned should the Dodgers? I want them to be panicking up there, so it should be a 10. No, it should not be that concerning. They got enough depth and everything up there. Just early in the season, we've seen this with Dodger teams in the past. They probably level of concern would probably be like a 2.
Number 2.
Speaking of injuries, the first place Rangers will be without their star shortstop Corey Seager, who was placed on the 10-day IL with a strained hamstring. Shortstop is a loaded position in today's game, Braden. Where do you rank Corey Seager among all MLB shortstops?
He's definitely top 10. was looking through a lot of the statistics of the shortstops, and he's basically almost top 5 in almost every offensive statistical category. I'd probably put him in the top 5 shortstop in Major League Baseball currently.
Number 3.
Pete Alonso is off to a fantastic start to the season after a fairly tumultuous free agency tour this past offseason where he didn't garner the level of interest he was hoping for. He was looking for a long-term deal. He settled for a 2-year deal with the Mets with an opt-out after year 1. Alonso drove in the game-tying run in the bottom of the 10th yesterday and then came around to score the game-winning run later in the inning. Alonso's hitting .341 with an 11.21 OPS, 6 home runs, 15 runs scored, and 26 RBIs so far. If Alonso keeps this up and opts out after the season, will he have better luck in free agency next offseason?
I think he will get better luck. I think intelligent teams wouldn't give him a big contract. I mean, he's 30. You're going to be signing him from age 31 to what, 37? Like a 6-year deal? 7-year deal? 6-year deal? I mean, how many years does he want? He's running out of years up here. Already off to 1.8 B-WAR to start the season. You mentioned all his stats. It's definitely drastically improving his odds of getting that contract that he's looking for.
We saw Blake Snell have trouble getting a big free agent deal, signed a deal, opted out, and then got the long-term deal with the Dodgers.
I think that's going to happen. I think he's going to get. I think he'll finally get his long-term
Vladdy got
deal.
paid, same position, right?
Yeah, I think, and then he's, as long as he continues, if he outplays Vladdy this year, his agents will definitely use that to his advantage, and he'll get some pretty good money. But at his age, probably won't be getting a 10-year deal. He'll probably get like a 6-year deal, maybe 7 max.
Number 4.
The Houston Rockets won a virtual must-win game last night against the Warriors to avoid going down 0-2 before heading to the Bay. But the moment everyone is talking about is when Jimmy Butler jumped up for a rebound. It was undercut by Amen Thompson, causing Butler to take a very hard fall and leave the game with a pelvic contusion. Butler was not able to return and will get an MRI later today, leaving his status for the rest of the series up in the air. Do you think this was a dirty play from Amen Thompson?
I don't, because to say it was dirty, it means you would say it was intentional. I don't think it was intentional. He looks like he gets kind of hit in the back by Draymond Green and gets pushed into Butler. I think it was kind of a wrong place at the wrong time situation. So I've watched it a couple of times. I'm trying to find some ill intent. I don't think that was the case. He's getting knocked over off balance, and he puts his hands up to protect his face from getting hit in the face by Jimmy Butler's foot. And he ends up undercutting Jimmy Butler as he comes down off the rebound. So I think it's an unfortunate deal. I think a lot of fans get emotional and think it's dirty, and it was on purpose, and should suspend the man because we're going to lose our player. But I don't think it was dirty.
Number 5.
Could one of the best running backs in the NFL be on the trade block? Earlier this morning, Jets running back Breece Hall tweeted out the fingers crossed emoji. No explanation, no words, just the emoji. A little while later, NFL insider Josina Anderson tweeted that her league sources have told her that Hall could be available via trade. There's a new regime in the Big Apple. Do you think the Jets trading away Breece Hall would be a smart decision?
I mean, if you really want to start over. Now, the fingers crossed, does he want to stay? Is that fingers crossed, I hope I stay here, or fingers crossed, I hope I get out of here?
As I said, Braden, no explanation.
That's
just
right.
emoji.
How would you interpret that? To me, if the guy wanted to stay, he wouldn't be tweeting it out like that. I think if he wants to leave, he'd put out his tweet with the fingers crossed. I don't necessarily. I guess you want to just get everybody out of there that was there before. I mean, Breece Hall's a really good player. Someone you could help build around in New York. They're slated to get a potential offensive tackle in the NFL draft. I think they got to get some offensive line help and redo everything for the Jets, but I can't imagine them, unless they're going to trade Breece Hall for a bunch of picks. I don't know how that's a benefit to the Jets too much. So I wouldn't think it'd be a great decision for the New York Jets unless they're like, hey, look, we're not going to be able to win in the window of Breece Hall being at his peak, so we might as well trade him away for some draft picks, build up on our offensive and defensive line, and then build around there and go a little bit more from a youth standpoint. That's actually not that bad of an idea. So maybe he does get traded for some more draft picks. Are they going to trade up to get a quarterback? Use Breece Hall as the bait? I wouldn't do that in this year's draft. But we'll find out more from JT O'Sullivan at 12:35, talking about the quarterbacks in this year's draft. 1:35, we got Eddie Brown talking the NFL draft. We're going to have a lot of that for you in the rest of the show. Continue our Padres talk. If you want to give it your letter grade, you can. 833-288-1973. Braden Surprenant Show rolls on. San Diego's #1 sports station, 97.3 The Fan.
Padres, Rays, tomorrow.
0-2, swing and a miss.
Pre-game, 5:40. First pitch, 6:40. The Padres play here on San Diego's #1 sports station, 97.3 The Fan.
Hey, it's NBA champion Bill Wennington. It's the best time to be a basketball fan. All the thrills and the playoff drama, done sitting on the sidelines and ready to win some real cash? Check out Pick 6 from DraftKings. When it comes to basketball payouts, DraftKings Pick 6 posterizes the competition, including prize picks. Hit all your picks and score higher minimum payouts on Pick 6 Plus. Even more cash if you outscore the competition.
Download the DraftKings Pick 6 app now and use code KWFN. That's code KWFN. For new customers to play $5, get $50 in Pick 6 credits. Better payouts, bigger wins. Only with Pick 6 from DraftKings. The crown is yours. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. Must be 18 plus. Age and eligibility restrictions vary by jurisdiction. Void where prohibited. One per new customer. Bonus awarded as non-withdrawable Pick 6 credits that expire in 14 days. Limited time offer. See terms at pick6.draftkings.com/promos.
Now at Verizon, we're locking in low prices for 3 years, guaranteed, on my plan. And you can get a single line for just $45 a month when you switch and bring your phone. That's our best price ever on unlimited welcome, with autopay plus taxes and fees, guaranteed for 3 years. Because at Verizon, we got you. Visit your local San Diego Verizon store today. $20 monthly promo credits applied over 36 months with a new line on unlimited welcome. In times of congestion, unlimited 5G and 4G LTE may be temporarily slower than other traffic. Domestic data roaming at 2G speeds. Price guarantee applies to then current base monthly rate. Additional terms and conditions apply.
The following is attorney advertising. If you or someone in your family was hurt in an accident, don't let big corporations take advantage. At Singleton Schreiber, we fight for what's fair, and we make them pay. Call Singleton Schreiber today, and we'll make them pay. Call 877-600-6000. That's 877-600-6000. Accidents are hard enough. The last thing you need is some corporation trying to shortchange you. At Singleton Schreiber, we go toe-to-toe with the corporate giants because you deserve better. Medical bills, lost wages, pain, and stress. We know what you're up against, and we fight for every dollar you're owed, every expense, every hardship, every moment of pain. We fight to get what you deserve. Don't wait. The clock is ticking. Call 877-600-6000. That's 877-600-6000. Your fight starts with one call. Call Singleton Schreiber today, and we'll make them pay. Gerald Singleton is responsible for this attorney advertising. 591 Camino de la Reina, Suite 1025, San Diego, California, 92108.
Hey guys, it is Woodsy, and if I told you we could finally calm that debilitating joint pain in your knees, hips, shoulders, and back and not miss a beat, wouldn't you do that? Wouldn't you sign up for that today? Call QC Kinetics. Their science is solid. They will give you your life back. It worked for me. Could not imagine how much pain I'd be in right now without my friends over at QC Kinetics. Call now. Find out how easy it is to get back to enjoying life without chronic joint pain. 619-614-PAIN. 619-614-PAIN. It's QC Kinetics. 619-614-PAIN.
Sweetie, come here. Don't worry. I see a lot of patients with the exact same thing.
Ever since the ice skating rink went in next door?
Or is it more than
Dr. Clark's business is heating up.
So many patients need my help. How will I find time to see all of them?
They need to hire a scheduler, stat.
I need Indeed.
Indeed you do. When you sponsor a job on Indeed, it's easier for talented candidates to find it, which makes it easier for you to hire them. Visit Indeed.com/credit and get $75 towards your first sponsored job. Terms and conditions apply.
Catchy tune, right? But don't let the urge to sing along distract you from the truck drifting towards your lane, or that lane-splitting biker creeping up beside you. Fortunately, every Hyundai offers advanced safety features that can alert you to potential dangers around you. And Hyundai has over 130 IIHS Top Safety Awards since 2006. Because Hyundai is always working to ensure the road doesn't. IIHS Top Safety Awards include Top Safety Pick and Top Safety Pick Plus awards to Hyundai vehicles from 2006 to 2025.
For coverage of San Diego State football and basketball,
I'm proud of our guys. These guys have given me everything they've had, so we can feel good about the things we did.
Follow San Diego's #1 sports station on X at 97.3 The Fan SD. KWFN and KWFN HD1 San Diego.
Hey, it's Chris Ello. Nobody gets along with his radio partners like I do, even Matt Scraby. Listen for yourself, weekdays 2 to 6 p.m. Gwen and Chris on 97.3 The Fan.
And Odyssey Sports Station.
Twelve o'clock hour, noon hour, lunchtime hour on the Braden Surprenant Show on San Diego's number one sports station, 97.3 The Fan. A lot of phone callers in the first hour. Coming off of the Padres roundtable, we're going to talk some Padres baseball with you throughout this hour up until about 12:35 when we have JT O'Sullivan joining us to talk a little bit about the quarterback situation in this year's NFL draft. We really appreciate him joining the show today. We'll have an NFL draft preview at 1 o'clock. And at 1:35, Eddie Brown of the San Diego Union-Tribune will go through a mock draft, or his first round. We'll talk everything you need to know about the first round of the NFL draft coming up in the 1 o'clock hour. Until then, got a lot of Padres news for you, Padres baseball to discuss, and really in the treading water category for the Padres. How to keep the boat afloat, as Manny Machado alluded to in after the game yesterday. Before we dive into that, I do want to mention we will talk about San Diego State basketball. They survived the portal yesterday. Mark Ziegler had an article about it in the Union-Tribune. We'll talk about that when we come back. But the Padres have lost 5 position players from their opening day roster. And as Kevin Acee points out in his daily newsletter, which I highly recommend signing up for, it's really good. It's a wealth of knowledge about the Padres. We don't want to trivialize their being without outfielders Brandon Lockridge and Jason Hayward, but when we discuss the big hits they have taken, we are primarily talking about half of their 6 core offensive players being sidelined. That is Luis Arraez, Jackson Merrill, Jake Cronenworth. And what Kevin Acee does is he goes into a deep dive in the numbers of what the players were doing, those particular players were doing before they went on the injured list, what some of the fill-in players have done in Iglesias and Wade since having to fill in for some of those players, what the bottom of the order has done from 4 on in the Padres lineup, and with half of the core being out, what has the other 3 members of the core done offensively to help fill the void? And to be honest with you, it's a lot of treading water. As Manny Machado alluded to yesterday, we're just trying to keep the boat afloat while we await some of these players from coming back. Manny had this to say about the situation. We know they're coming back. It's just a matter of just keeping the boat afloat, right? And we've been doing that. We've been playing really good baseball, and these guys have come in and really, really stepped in big time for us. It's good when we have guys like that that can come in and step in when some of our big guys are down and continue doing what our plan is offensively and defensively. That's just 100% correct. And so from the grand scheme of things, if it's a short period of time in order to do this, they have been able to successfully do it. They're 5-5 in their last 10 games. Coming back home where they've had really good splits at home compared to being on the road. And we could talk more about that later on the show. But let's look at the 3 players that are part of the core that are on the injured list. Luis Arraez, Jackson Merrill, and Jake Cronenworth. Arraez in 22 games was hitting .287 with a .755 OPS. He had a 113 weighted runs created plus. Weighted runs created plus measures a player's run production. A WRC plus of 100 is average. A WRC plus of 112 is 12% above average. So Luis Arraez is 13% above average when it comes to his players in terms of his run production. 25 hits in 96 plate appearances, had 3 doubles, 3 home runs, which is crazy, 7 RBIs, 5 walks, punched out only twice. Obviously a big hole to fill. Jackson Merrill, in 10 games played this year, put together 14 hits and 41 at-bats. He had 3 home runs, 10 RBIs. He was hitting .378 with a 1090 OPS and a 198 weighted runs created plus, which means he is 98% above average of an average Major League Baseball player. Jake Cronenworth, same kind of stat line as Luis Arraez, but he was producing a little bit more runs. He had 2 pumps, 5 RBIs, did walk 8 times, a 409 on base percentage, a 46 slug, and he had a 156 weighted runs created plus, which means he's better than, he's 56% above an average Major League Baseball player. So that's what you kind of had to replace. Gavin Sheets has been his sole replacement for Arraez in the number 2 spot and played first base. On Sunday, he was 1 for 4 and drove in a run, 2 for 4 with a home run on Monday, but went 0 for 7 in his next 2 games with 4 strikeouts. The absence of Merrill and Cronenworth had been going on long enough to be able to draw some conclusions. Their primary replacements have been Jose Iglesias and Tyler Wade. Jose Iglesias, in the absence, has hit 300 with a 112 weighted runs created plus, 732 OPS. His slugging's down, but he's getting on base at a 352 clip. Tyler Wade has done a great job, too. He's got 6 walks in his 30 plate appearances, 6 hits in his 30 plate appearances, 261 average, a 675 OPS, and a 111 weighted runs created plus. Obviously, it's a lot of data being thrown at you, but again, they are filling the void to an extent, at least keeping the boat afloat. Is Iglesias and Wade perfect replacements for Merrill and Cronenworth? No, of course not. Asking them to be is utterly ridiculous. They might not even be Donovan Solano or David Peralta, 2 heroes from last year, rose from the bench, but they have been very serviceable. I mean, Tyler Wade in 261 with 6 walks is very, very serviceable. You can live with that for a finite amount of time. If you're going to have to rely on him to do that each and every day for the next 2 to 3 months, then you're going to be in a little bit more of a danger issue. Padres were 8-2 with Jackson Merrill. They are now 9-6 without Jackson Merrill. Not only are they missing his production, but he's also been very good in big moments. I mean, he has been the guy, even this season, that has had a major impact on a lot of Padres wins. He drove in the tying run and go-ahead runs in the season opener, and then tied that game again with another RBI. He hit home runs that put them ahead for good in their 6th and 7th games of the year. In his final game before going on the injured list, he had a 2-run homer and later walked, stole second, and scored the tying run in a comeback from 4 runs down. Injuries to Cronenworth and Arraez are a blow. Missing Merrill has proved to be a crater in the heart of the order, says Kevin Acee. You look at the heart of the order, because consistently Jackson Merrill had been the cleanup hitter for the Padres, or at least hitting in the top 4 spots. And the primary fill-ins for those middle of the order at-bats have been Xander Bogaerts, who I think a lot of people, and I agree, don't think he should be hitting cleanup. Oscar Gonzalez and Gavin Sheets. Tirso Ornelas hit 5th twice. Jake Cronenworth batted 4th once, and Yuli Gurriel batted 5th in 1 start and pinch hit 3 other times in one of those 2 spots. Hayward pinch hit twice for Gonzalez in the 5th spot. Here are the players that have filled in for the middle of the orders, like the 4, 5, and even 6 spots in the order. Xander Bogaerts, Jake Cronenworth, Oscar Gonzalez, Yuli Gurriel, Jason Hayward, Tirso Ornelas, Gavin Sheets. Bogaerts has had 42 at-bats. He's 10 for 42 with 2 runs scored, an RBI, 5 walks, 2 doubles, no home runs. Jake Cronenworth had 3 at-bats, Gonzalez with 20, Gurriel with 7, Hayward had 1, Tirso with 5, Gavin Sheets with 23. Out of all of those players hitting in the 4th or 5th position in the order since Merrill went down, there's only been 1 home run out of the core of your order. Obviously something that's not sustainable for success. Now, I don't think you need to use primarily home runs to be a really good baseball team, but it would be nice to have some home runs in the middle part of your order. Xander Bogaerts is not a home run hitter. We've talked about that ad nauseum. He hits about 15 home runs a year. In good years, it's about 20. In great years, in fact, career years, he hit 30 home runs, but kind of an anomaly for a guy like Xander Bogaerts. So him not having any home runs, utterly not that surprising, especially when 2 of them got taken away by the win at Wrigley Field against Imanaga. But he doesn't have any home runs. Jake Cronenworth is the only player for the Padres since Merrill went down to hit a home run batting 4th or 5th for San Diego. Top of the order has done their job for the most part all season long. At 4 and 5 spot in the order has been kind of a hole for the Padres all season long, especially without Jackson Merrill in the lineup. Something that obviously needs to progress for the Padres, and it's not just Xander Bogaerts, it's everybody else that's filled in as well. Oscar Gonzalez has 1 double. Yuli Gurriel has a double, but he only has 7 at-bats, and again, he hasn't been very good for the Padres this year. Hayward has a hit and a walk. Gavin Sheets has probably done the most damage with 8 hits and 2 RBIs, but nobody has more than 2 RBIs out of the group that is filled in the 4 and 5 spot. Not a lot of production in the middle part of your order. Again, you're just trying to tread water. Collectively, out of the bunch, they're hitting the 4 and 5 spot in the Padres order is hitting .267 with 1 home run, 5 doubles, 12 RBIs in 15 games. Merrill, in those 2 particular positions, hit .378 with 3 home runs, 2 doubles, and drove in 10 runs in 10 games. So again, the Padres players are trying to fill in and fill a little bit of the void, but they're not going to be able to reach the level of Jackson Merrill, who is expected, as Kevin Acee pointed out in his article, to be back in the first week of May, which would be right before or at the beginning part of their next road trip that goes to Pittsburgh and New York. So you got to survive the homestand again without Jackson Merrill. You are going to get Luis Arraez back. So you've talked about some of the players that have filled in their spots and some bench pieces that have to play every day that are going to get exposed playing every single day. That's why they're not everyday players. But you need the rest of your core to really contribute, and the rest of your core is done good but not great. Your core group of players on this team, and there's 6 of them, Bogaerts, Machado, Tatis, Cronenworth, Arraez, and Jackson Merrill. The 3 that are left, they're not really putting together the production you would need to help carry the team as you would think. We'll talk about what those numbers are when we come back. The Braden Surprenant Show, San Diego's #1 sports station, 97.3 The Fan. Hey, what's up, guys? This is Braden Surprenant, and if you're watching playoff basketball, you got to check out Underdog's extender promo. Here's how it works. When a playoff series starts, you get a 40% profit boost for Game 1. Play every game in the series, and that boost gets bigger each time, up to 100% for Game 7. The longer the series, the more you can win. Underdog is one of the top sports apps, and yes, you can play right now in your state. Millions of fans have already won billions, and their app has over 100,000 5-star reviews. It's super easy to play. Just download the app and make your picks. Will players go higher or lower on stats like points, assists, rebounds, and more? You can play for as little as $1, and if you get your picks right, you can win up to 1,000 times your money. This week, I'm looking at the playoffs and picking one player to go higher in points and another to go lower in rebounds. I've been having a blast with it. It makes every game way more fun. Download the Underdog app, sign up with promo code Braden to unlock up to $1,000 in bonus cash with your first deposit. That's promo code Braden. Must be 18 years or over, 19 years or over in Alabama, Nebraska, and present in a state where Underdog Fantasy operates. Terms apply. See assets.underdogfantasy.com/web/extend.html for details. Concerned with your play? Call 1-800-GAMBLER or visit ncpgambling.org.
Just hearing the word IRS can make people break out in a cold sweat. No one wants to deal with the IRS, and now you don't have to. The good news is Legal Tax Defense has been successfully negotiating with the IRS for more than 15 years. It doesn't matter how much you owe, whether it's $5,000 or $5 million. You deserve the best in the business on your side, and that is Legal Tax Defense. Even if you're working with someone else and just want a second opinion, there is no cost or obligation to call. They can prevent levies, liens, wage garnishments, even file back tax returns. And the best news about Legal Tax Defense is they won't take your case unless they know they will reduce or eliminate your tax debt. Call Legal Tax Defense right now for a free no-risk consultation. 800-265-7681. 800-265-7681. You have nothing to lose, but everything to gain. 800-265-7681.
Greetings, Earth. I bring you news. Human musical group sensations, Glass Animals, are performing live. Tour of Earth, San Diego. They love you so much. See them live at North Island Critical Credit Union Amphitheater, Friday, September 13th, with special guest iDress. Get tickets now at livenation.com. The brand new album is available everywhere July 19th. Part of the Sick One Casino Resort Concert Series.
San Diego to Tijuana, bus leaving in 3 minutes.
Hey, how are you, babe?
Hi, I'm good, but I wish you were here in Tijuana.
I know, I wish you were here in San Diego. Hey, I just sent you a song.
I love it, but it made me miss you even more.
Next stop, Tijuana Central Bus Terminal.
Hey, go outside.
Wait, why?
What? What are you doing here?
Surprise.
With AT&T, use your plan in Mexico like in the 619. 2 countries, 1 network. Only with AT&T. Available for U.S. customers. Requires eligible plan. Additional speed, coverage, and other restrictions apply. Visit att.com/one network for details.
Hey guys, it's Woodsy. Ever heard of probate? It's the legal state supervised process of settling someone's estate after they pass. Sounds simple, right? Not always. It can be long, expensive, and tie up your family's access to your assets for months, sometimes even years. The good news, you can avoid probate for assets held in a trust. With most trusts, your family gets quicker access to your estate. In most cases, there are no courts, no delays. It's easy, affordable, and you can create it all online with Trust and Will in about 20 minutes. Take control of your estate. Visit trustandwill.com. Use code FAN at checkout for 20% off and free document delivery. That's trustandwill.com.
Hey, weekend warriors, how's a little trail therapy sound right now? Hop in. Let's go for a ride in the all-new Nissan Armada Pro 4X. Tune out all those work emails and turn up that twin-turbo V6 engine. Instead of letting the kids play online, show them some epic inclines. Turn your 8-person family dinner into an exhilarating off-road adventure. The all-new Nissan Armada is here. Intelligent four-wheel drive cannot prevent collisions or provide enhanced traction in all conditions. Always monitor traffic and weather conditions.
At Straight Talk, we are all about no-brainers. Calling grandma for her recipe, no-brainer. Streaming one more episode at 2 a.m., big no-brainer. Getting real unlimited data where you buy bananas, the ultimate no-brainer. Switch now and get a free Samsung Galaxy A16 5G or Moto G Power 5G 2024 with select plans. Straight Talk, real unlimited data. Available at Walmart and straighttalk.com. Offer valid through 5/19/25. Taxes and fees apply. Requires in-source single line activation on qualifying plan. For network management practices, visit straighttalk.com/terms. Copyright 2025 Verizon.
$12:17 on a Thursday. Happy NFL Draft Day. It'll be Padres off day. I want to continue the Padres conversation. We'll talk more about the NFL Draft coming up at 12:35 with JT O'Sullivan. He's going to break down the quarterbacks expected to go in this year's draft. And then coming up at 1:35, Eddie Brown has released his latest mock draft for the first round. We're going to ask him some questions on what to expect from the first round and what to watch for tonight if you're interested in watching the NFL Draft. We'll get you a full preview as well in the 1 o'clock hour. You got to get a contestant for a midday sports standoff at 12:45. We'll be doing that after we talk with JT. 833-288-0973, 833-288-0973 coming up in the next segment or so. Also, if you want to join the show today, we asked the question, letter grade for the Padres at their first 25 games. I give them an A. Most people are giving them an A. A couple people A-. We did have one guy with a B+. I mean, if you were to tell me during the offseason that come April 24th that the Padres would be in first place by a game over the Dodgers, I think a lot of people would take that. 833-288-0973, 833-288-0973. So we're talking about the Padres having to keep the boat afloat, as Manny Machado said yesterday after the loss to Detroit. And we're going to talk about that, and then we're going to get into some Aztec basketball because we've got some good news about the Aztecs. They should be poised for a really good season next year. But we talked about some of the replacement players. Again, that's where like WAR comes in anyway, wins above a replacement player. You're seeing it right now with some of the replacement players that have come in to fill the voids of Jake Cronenworth and Jackson Merrill and Luis Arraez. They've done a very serviceable job, but sometimes you're going to need your other members of the core, and there's 6 members of the Padres core to really step it up and really put the team on their back. Now, I'm not saying these guys aren't doing that, but here are the numbers for Bogaerts, Machado, and Tatis when it comes to stepping up a little bit more just because they have to now. Again, Fernando almost single-handedly won you the game in Houston the other night. And it's hard to ask them to do it every night. But here's what Bogaerts, Machado, and Tatis, the remaining healthy members of the core 6, have fared going back to the first game without Jackson Merrill. Bogaerts has played in 15 games. Manny's played in 15 games. Fernando's played in 14 games. They've all relatively had the same amount of plate appearances, with Manny and Tatis having 3 more each than Xander. Manny and Tatis have had 61 plate appearances each. Xander's had 58. Xander, 14 hits. Manny, 14 hits. Fernando, 17 hits. Xander has scored 6 runs. Manny, 10 runs. Fernando, 14 runs. Xander and Manny both have 6 doubles each. Fernando has 0. Fernando does have a triple. The other 2 do not. And in terms of home runs, Fernando's got 7. Manny's got 2. Xander's got none. RBIs, Fernando's got 11. Manny's got 8. Xander's got 1. Walks, 5 for Xander, 7 for Machado, 6 for Fernando. Strikeouts, 12 for Fernando and Xander, 9 for Machado. Average, Bogaerts has hit the best out of the 3. He's hit 309 since Jackson Merrill has been on the injured list. Manny's hit 259. Fernando's hit 269. Xander's gotten on base more than the other 2. 377 on base percentage to Manny's 344 and Fernando's 328. And in terms of slugging percentage, this has to be wrong. There's no way this is right. But slugging percentage, according to Kevin Acee, has Xander at a 727 slug, Machado at a 41 slug, and Fernando at a 385 slug since Merrill went on the IL. There's no way that's right. I can't imagine his slugging percentage being 727 since he was put on the injured list. In fact, there's no spot for the OPS spot, so I wonder if that's just OPS and the other 2 are slugged. WRC plus, Xander's got a 102. He's only 2% better than average for his runs created, but again, he's not scoring a lot, and he hasn't driven any runs. Machado 129, Fernando 200 on his MVP caliber season. In fact, I got to look up what the number is. There's no way that's right for Xander Bogaerts. But you look at overall the San Diego Padres and some of their core players. I mean, Xander's hitting for a high average, and Fernando and Manny are hitting for more power numbers. You would like to see a little bit more out of those guys. But as of right now, they're doing what they can with what they have. And so far in their last 10 games, they're 5-5, which is doing exactly that. So he went on the injured list on the first game against Oakland. See if I can pull up these numbers for Xander real quick. There's no way his slugging is 727. He hasn't hit enough home runs. That's got to be his overall OPS because his slugging percentage is in the 300s right now, and he hadn't hit any home runs. But while that loads, I do want to mention, here it is. It's got a 385 slug, a 712 OPS. So looking at those numbers again for OPS, or should I say slugging, a 385 slugging percentage compared to the 481 and the 385 for Fernando Tatis Jr. So actually slugging the same, Fernando and Xander, since Jackson Merrill got put on the injured list. Now, again, Jackson's expected to be back potentially for the first game in Pittsburgh. Again, no timetable from the Padres, just kind of poking around, seeing what kind of info Kevin can get from the personnel. They've been very cautious about their medicals. And I would imagine Jackson Merrill's coming back sooner rather than later. And so you really only have to weather the storm for the remainder of this homestand, start of and remainder of the homestand, which is 5 games. You got 3 games against Tampa, all against right-handed pitchers, and then you have 2 games against San Francisco with an off day in between on Monday. Monday is an off day for the San Diego Padres. So with those 5 games, it would be nice for the Padres. I think if the Padres go 3-2 in those 5, it's satisfactory and sustain and serviceable for the remainder, until you expect to get Jackson Merrill back in Pittsburgh next weekend. I think that needs to be the goal this weekend, 3-2. If you do better than 3-2, you go 4-1, that would be great. 5-0 would be ridiculous. Then you're absolutely back on track. But where the Padres are at right now in the standings, and as I mentioned before, with the contributions they've gotten, I get them an A letter grade for their first couple of games or so, first 25 games of the season. I want to move on to San Diego State basketball because I do want to get this in before we get to JT O'Sullivan coming up at 12:35. San Diego State got some big news yesterday in the basketball world, with Magoon Guath announcing on Instagram that he is coming back to San Diego State. He's foregoing the rest of his NBA draft status or what have you. And with Magoon Guath coming back and potentially Miles Byrd coming back, as long as he doesn't go pro, which I don't think he will go pro. I don't think he's in a position to go pro yet after the season he had last year. But with Byrd coming back and with Guath coming back, and you look at some of the other pieces, San Diego State's youngest team they've had in years, they're poised to really have a great season next year. Now, they lost Nick Boyd, who apparently got $1 million to go play for Wisconsin. But how is Magoon Guath able to come back to how were the Aztecs able to get Magoon Guath back to San Diego State? From foregoing the remainder of the NBA draft process, I didn't think that was going to be that big of a shock, that he wasn't going to go this year and you were going to get him back on that particular case. But him taking his name out of the transfer portal tells you a lot about San Diego State basketball and why there is some hope. And I'm going to give him credit for this. What has been able to keep organizations, or should I say programs, going that don't have the big budgets of Kentucky and Michigan and some of those big basketball budgets you're seeing. I mean, almost everybody on Kentucky's basketball team next year is making $1 million plus. There's not a lot of I don't think anybody on that roster is not making at least $1 million. And so Magoon Guath, who probably was offered a lot more than that, and they don't have the numbers, but according to sources that were used in Mark Ziegler's article, it sounded like he definitely turned down a significant chunk of change to come back to San Diego State. What has worked for programs in this particular case has been culture, and the culture of San Diego State basketball, with at least a little bit of compensation, has led them to keep a lot of players that they had and invested time, money, and effort in last year in building a core group of players. Quote from Magoon's Instagram post: "I will be foregoing the remainder of the NBA draft process, and I'm officially returning to San Diego State next season. Thank you for all your support as I gathered valuable feedback. While the NBA remains a goal of mine in the future, I'm looking forward to an amazing year ahead in San Diego. I'm focused on doing everything I can to help our team achieve great things. Go Aztecs." You're going to get 8 players returning from last year's team that was one of the younger teams for San Diego State, one of the younger teams that Brian Dutcher's brought to an NCAA tournament, even though they got run out of the building. You could play the card of, well, they were young. And I remember mentioning, I said this after they got eliminated. You could play that card if everybody comes back. Well, they got everybody back. That's a big round of applause to the Aztecs basketball program and to guys like Brian Dutcher. Miles Byrd, if he doesn't go pro, would be back because he didn't enter the transfer portal. Magoon Guath, back. Reese Waters, who missed all of last season with an injury, back. BJ Davis, Taj DeGorville, Farrell Compton, Miles Heide, and Thakbor Majak, all back. You brought in 3 transfers, a point guard in Sean Newman Jr. from Louisiana Tech, who is from California. You brought guard Latrell Davis from San Jose State, and you brought in a forward from Charlotte, Jeremiah Oden. On top of that, you bring in 2 incoming freshmen in Ty Simmons at a Heritage Christian High School in Northridge and LZ Harrington at a St. John Bosco in Bellflower. And LZ Harrington is 6'6" and incredibly athletic. He is an athlete. And so having him added to this roster, San Diego State's poised to be very, very good in 2025-2026 season. Continuity has always been the norm in college athletics, in college basketball, before NIL really took over. As Mark Ziegler points out in his article, now it's like the overwhelming exception. A recent count found that just 15 of 364 Division I programs have only 1 player in the portal. Nearly 50 have at least 10, including the University of San Diego down the street. UCSD lost all 5 of their starters, including their 6-man, 92% of its scoring, both incoming freshman commits, and all but 4 scholarship players. New Mexico lost their entire roster and coaching staff. Baylor and Indiana have no returning scholarship players who appeared in a game last season. Arizona State lost all but 1, and he averaged 3.6 points per game. The only returnee at Central Florida played 4 total minutes. They go on to mention in the article, and you can look at it on the Union-Tribune, about everything that San Diego State did from a money perspective. But they got in front of a lot of these potential contracts before they were solidified. They've learned from previous years where they're getting in front of these guys before they enter in the portal instead of trying to compete for them when they enter the portal. But they were able to bring back a lot of these players. And again, in order to get Magoon Guath, they had to have 2 coaches travel out to Dallas on an off day in February. They met with Guath's family, even when the Mountain West Freshman of the Year and Defensive Player of the Year initially opted to enter the portal, worked it out. But as Brian Dutcher alluded to in this article with Mark Ziegler, he talks about how he talks about being able to keep guys because they want to be here, part of this culture, if you just give them a fair deal back. And if San Diego State can continue to do that, they can continue to compete at a high level in college basketball. They were able to bring back a lot of great players. And it's because of the culture, and it's because of what Steve Fisher built into Brian Dutcher. And you're going to have a pretty successful season, I think, on the Mesa next year for San Diego State basketball. I'm excited for the Aztecs and seeing what they got. I mean, they got Magoon Guath back, and I'm sure Miles Bird, we'll see what happens with him in the NBA draft. I can't imagine him getting drafted or deciding to go pro. You get him back to complete the roster out, Aztecs in a really good spot. When we come back, JT O'Sullivan, former NFL quarterback who spends his time now here in San Diego, also is someone that runs a quarterback school online at the quarterback school, will be coming on to talk about some of the quarterbacks in this year's draft when we come back on the Braden Surprenant Show, San Diego's #1 sports station, 97.3 The Fan.
Ben and Woods on The Fan.
The director of athletics at San Diego State, J.D. Wicker, is with us right now. J.D., it's good to have you on. Good morning.
Morning, guys. How are y'all?
Doing good. Ben's very nervous.
I'm not that nervous.
He's very nervous.
This isn't evil. This isn't evil, J.D. Wicker. This is the real J.D. Wicker.
Ben.
Yeah, I was wondering if my alter ego was going to show up.
You just never know, J.D., when he'll pop up.
Listen to Ben and Woods weekdays from 6 to 10 on 97.3 The Fan.
Injured? Do you need help? Call the Barnes firm now. 1-800-8-million.
We have a great pool and spa in our backyard, but my parents cleaning it themselves wasn't working out. Then they hired a random guy, but it was always dirty.
Dude, it's just algae.
Finally, they got it right by hiring GL Pools.
At GL Pools, we know you worked hard for your backyard, and so will we. Contact GL Pools today and mention radio for 1 free month of pool service up to $200 in value with no contract, no commitment. GLPools.com. GLPools.com. Local to San Diego County and family owned since 2006. That's GLPools.com.
Looking for the perfect home base for delicious pizza? Look no further than Round Table Pizza. Since 1959, Round Table has been pizza royalty, crafting homemade dough daily and using top-notch ingredients. Round Table pizzas are handcrafted with toppings to the edge of our perfectly baked crust. And don't forget to try the new churro twists, a sweet treat baked to perfection and served with a caramel dipping sauce. Visit roundtablepizza.com for your nearest location. Round Table Pizza, it's pizza royalty.
Breaking up is hard, but sometimes it's necessary. Move on with 0 down and 0% financing at DCH Honda Mission Valley.
A new Honda? Heated seats and 0 down?
Upgrade today. 0 down, 0% financing, and 100% peace of mind. DCH Honda Mission Valley. Fall in love with driving again.
Hey, it's Gravy, and I'm here with Mark Grau. He is also a patient at SD Fat Loss. So tell us, how much weight have you lost?
103 pounds.
How do you feel?
I feel fantastic. I used to be a diabetic. My doctor has been in the field for 18 years. He's said he's never seen anyone beat diabetes, and I've done that.
When you stepped on that scale, were you surprised at how quickly your weight went down?
Yes. When I've been struggling with weight for all my life. I've tried several different programs. I jumped on there. I'll be honest, I weighed 380 pounds when I started this program. And the first 2 weeks on this thing, I probably lost 20 pounds. That shocked me.
What was the one thing that you really enjoyed and found that you enjoyed throughout the process?
The structure, the ability that I can go to a grocery store and buy real food. I don't have to buy anybody else's processed foods.
Tell me a little bit about how you feel now.
I sleep better. I'm more energetic. I don't take any medications. The scale's not my enemy anymore.
Well, thanks so much for sharing your success story with us. Go online at sdfatloss.com.
We all hear the radio ads about the IRS. They tell you to be afraid, to be scared, and they try to frighten you into calling. I'm not here to do that. Tax Relief Advocates is different. TRA is here to tell you that if you owe money to the IRS, whether it's $5,000, $50,000, or $500,000, we have a solution. It doesn't matter if you're sitting in your car, at work, or with your kids. No matter where you are, call now. 800-575-6812. Don't lose hope. TRA can eliminate or reduce what you owe to the IRS. Generous programs are now available that can give you a fresh start. Our passion is taxes and helping individuals fix their IRS problems. We have over 1,000 5-star reviews on Google and an A+ with the Better Business Bureau. You don't need to be afraid of the IRS any longer. End your tax nightmare today by visiting us online at TRA.com or call 800-575-6812. That's 800-575-6812. Tax Relief Advocates. Real solutions for real people.
All right, when it comes to getting life insurance for your family, a lot of excuses can get in the way. But ask yourself this: if something were to happen to me, who would pay the mortgage, the kids' education, and the other bills? Then forget the excuses and check out Ethos Life, the online, easy way to get life insurance in 10 minutes. Ethos has rates that you can afford, like a $500,000 policy for a 40-year-old male starting at $1 a day or $30 a month, with a few health questions and no medical exam. Get your free quote right now at checkethos.com. That's checkethos.com. Not available in all states. Rates do vary.
Still getting around to that fix on your car? You got this. On eBay, you'll find millions of parts guaranteed to fit. Doesn't matter if it's a major engine repair or your first time swapping your windshield wipers. eBay has that part you need, ready to click perfectly into place for changes big and small, loud or quiet. Find all the parts you need at prices you'll love, guaranteed to fit every time. But you already know that. eBay. Things, people, love. Eligible items only. Exclusions apply.
This is Maggie Gray with an Odyssey Sports Minute. Luka Doncic is dropping triple doubles in LA next to LeBron James, and still the question lingers, can he ever be the guy, meaning the face of the entire NBA? Talent-wise, absolutely. He's got the bag, the vision, the drama, but popularity, that's a different game. Bron's got movies and billboards and a decade-long head start. Luka's got to win big, and he's got to own moments, and he's got to do it while playing in LeBron's shadow for now. Just like when LeBron became the face of the league after Michael Jordan, the torch isn't just handed over. You have to take it. I'm Maggie Gray.
Twelve 39 on a NFL Draft Thursday. Braden Surprenant show here on 97.3 The Fan, San Diego's #1 sports station. We're talking a lot of NFL draft today because we got the draft show coming up at 5 o'clock. We're also talking about San Diego Padres baseball. If you want to join in the show, 833-288-0973, 833-288-0973. We do need a contestant for our game coming up in about 10, 15 minutes or so. NFL draft version of the game. Adam's so excited about the NFL draft. Guy's like a kid on Christmas. But if you want to come in to try to take me down and win an opportunity to go to Vegas, 833-288-0973, 833-288-0973. Joining me now on the Braden Surprenant Show, spent some time as a head football coach here in town, had a really nice NFL career, played a long time in the National Football League, has now started the quarterback school, the Internet's quarterback coach, where he helps out a lot with it comes to quarterbacks. JT O'Sullivan, he's going to come on to talk some NFL draft with some of the quarterbacks in this year's draft with us. JT, what's going on, man? Long time no talk.
Yeah, man, Braden, what's going on? Congratulations on the show. Love listening around town and fired up for some draft day.
I appreciate that. And for a lot of people that don't know, obviously JT lives in town. I like your Twitter bios. You and the family wearing a lot of Padres gear. I know you're a big Padres supporter out there.
Yeah, we love it. Can't get out there enough, man. We're a big fan of the Wednesday day games. Start early, end early, and have a good time.
I want to talk a little bit about, obviously the draft day is an important day for a lot of different players. And, some guys do get drafted, some guys do not. And you were a part of this back in 2002, ended up going in the 6th round. What was draft day like for you? And what are a lot of these players experiencing on a day like today?
Oh man, you're making me do this, huh? It's one of those things where it's a lot of mixed up emotions, if I'm being honest. And I think it's a little bit different experience if you're a Travis Hunter, Cam Ward type situation where you are going to be picked early. It's definitely a celebration for those guys, as it should be. For everybody else, there's a lot of uncertainty. And for a guy who's going to get drafted lower, probably not the first day, now not even the second day. I was part of the draft when it was 2 days, and I got so pissed that I actually went into my room and took a nap and got woken up to the phone call from the Saints saying that I got drafted, just because I was getting frustrated that guys that I thought I was better than were getting drafted ahead of me from teams that told me they were going to draft me. So it was frustrating, but then you end up being excited about your opportunity for sure.
JT O'Sullivan joining us on the Braden Surprenant Show. And let's talk, a little bit about this year's quarterback class. Great article by Tom Krasovic. You were able to contribute a lot of breakdown on some of these quarterbacks, and a big reason why I wanted to get you on today. A lot of people have said it's not one of the better draft classes when it comes to quarterback play. It's very difficult to play this position, obviously at a high level, as you have experience with that as well. But when we're looking at the overall synopsis of this particular quarterback class, how would you evaluate it compared to other years? And how would you stack this class up before things start flying off the board?
I think most people would probably say that the top tier of quarterback talent is a little thin this year, meaning that there aren't multiple guys that you would expect to go in and contribute immediately, or really you would want for your team. And so those types of things, I think, can make it less interesting once you get past the top of the draft. But from there, I think that there are some really exciting prospects, guys that I probably like more than most. But, it's one of those things where, and I always try to make sense of this for people who've never been through it, but it's, for a guy like Cam Ward, it's congratulations. If you're the number 1 overall pick, you are going to the worst team in the NFL. Yeah. And so it can be really hard, and it can be tough for a lot of guys. You really have to, you have to survive that initial surge of, not only are you in the league, you're a face of the franchise, but you're on a team that wasn't good last year, and trying to make that switch can be really difficult for a lot of people.
I'd always want to know, just with, quarterback evaluation, people look for different things. As a former quarterback, when you go through your eval without, really diving into the weeds and some of the secrets, what are some of the things that you look for in a quarterback, and what you see in quarterbacks that you think can translate to the NFL level and not just be a very good college quarterback?
Yeah, that's a great question, and where the secret sauce of it, I guess it's one of those things for me. It's seen in the college film Sunday throws, and what I mean by that is sometimes on the the Friday night game and the Saturday game, you can kind of scheme people open. You can have people wide open. Some of these guys who are coming out come from great systems. I think of like Ole Miss, Texas. They've got unbelievable play callers, offensive architects that are scheming people open. In the league, it's a lot more of matchup-centric, precision, throwing guys open, understanding what the progression is. There aren't a lot of, true progression coverage reads at the college level. So if you see throws that are drive throws down the field, because the hashes are wider, it's a different game at the college game. But if you see wide side, outside the number of throws with anticipation, those are throws that translate to any level. And so just being able to do that and the consistency of the ball placement are all things that I think will give guys an opportunity in the league now. If they're alien freak athletes, that sure as hell helps too. But it's one of those things where you have to be able to throw it well enough or you're going to get exposed really quickly in the league.
How much do you evaluate from quarterback play with, guys in college that have all day to throw compared to guys that might be under pressure and have to, get the ball out quick? And, how much of it do you have to weigh in on certain guys being able to play with really good lines and guys at college places that might not have a great line, which in the NFL, as you mentioned before, you start when you get drafted as high as Cam Ward is, he's going to a team that's not going to be very good and probably won't have the great protection. Does that play any level in your evaluation?
You absolutely look at that, and it's impossible not to because the pass pro is so influential in so many of these passing schemes. But to me, the way that I try to frame it, I guess, is do these guys show a consistent capacity to play on time? Because a guy like Cam Ward, and really Shedeur Sanders too, they take some really bad sacks. And Cam Ward specifically, sometimes he will look, the way that I describe it is almost like nonchalant. Like he's so relaxed. He's played so much college football. He knows that the defense is dropping 8, that he's only got 3 rushing. And he looks, it's back there like he's back at recess. And that type of stuff doesn't really happen in the league very often. So does he have the capacity to play on time consistently? And that's one of those things where you have to see it in film. That's why they do all those in person. Do they teach them? They get them on the board. They teach them in the classroom. They get them out on the field, see how quickly they can learn, see how quickly they can get through things that are really impossible for, a film analysis to be able to get a complete picture of. But you want to have the capacity to play on time, because if you don't, you're going to be holding the ball. Things are going to be too fast for you. The windows are going to be tighter, and it's going to be tough out there.
Talking with JT O'Sullivan, who is a 9-year career or NFL vet who is now running his new venture as a quarterback school, the Internet's quarterback coach. We'll let you talk about that in just a little bit. Like to know a little bit more about the quarterback school. But let's talk about some of the quarterbacks. Obviously, Cam Ward's going to be the number 1 pick, it seems like, to the Tennessee Titans. What does he bring from an NFL standpoint? Had a lot more time to throw and found a lot of open receivers in Miami, but really made those Sunday throws as a member of the Washington State Cougars in his career.
Yeah, I think the first thing you notice about Cam Ward is he's got all the clubs. He's got the best arm talent in this class. He's got all sorts of arm angles. He's creative. He can extend. He's kind of a perfect example of a kind of modern quarterback. And so the other thing about it, and you alluded to it, is, it's not like I went back and watched a lot of UIW film, but he's produced everywhere he's been. He's really been the same player. So he's almost offensive agnostic and can be dumped in anywhere and hopefully have that same level of production.
Let's talk about, in terms of your list, it might differ from other lists. Who did you have as your number 2, 3 and 4 quarterback with, guys like Shedeur, guys like Jackson Dart, Jalen Milroe, Quinn Ewers as kind of like the mid-tier? Obviously, Shedeur's probably in the top with Cam, but how did you evaluate some of those other quarterbacks not named Cam Ward?
I had a pretty hard time with Shedeur Sanders. I'm not going to lie. I didn't really see the hype early on, and kind of did probably a deeper and wider film analysis on him than I have done on anybody over the course of over half a decade doing this now. And it's one of those things where I tried to move him down, and I just couldn't. He's a polished player, super productive, super accurate at the line of scrimmage, over the middle. It's one of those things where you can tell he's been coached at a very high level. I think he's tough. He's extremely smart. Maybe a little bit not as aggressive as you would love to see sometimes, and you're going to have to make some decisions to put the ball in harm's way, in a 3rd down, red zone situation where he just defaults to protecting the ball, and that's where you see him hold the ball for a little bit too long. But he's my number 2, and then number 3, I really like Jalen Milroe, by far probably the most dynamic athlete of the group. Certainly not as polished of a passer, but I think there's enough recent evidence to say that guys can go into the league and improve on their ability to throw, and I think that's what you probably lean into with if you draft Jalen Milroe high.
Talking with JT O'Sullivan, former NFL quarterback. He's the internet quarterback coach on his new project that he's been working on the last couple of years. In terms of Shedeur in general, where do you see him as a fit? It sounded like, there's a lot of mock drafts having the Saints grab him at 9. Steelers are interested in a quarterback later on. There's a couple of rumors that maybe some teams like the Giants might trade up from the second round to go get Shedeur Sanders at the end of the first round. If Shedeur, if you got to pick the perfect location for Shedeur Sanders, what team and organization would that be?
No, I mean, it's an impossible task. I would look for, and I would phrase this for any quarterback, I would want to go to a quarterback-friendly system, meaning probably an offensive head coach and play caller with a team of established veterans with some perimeter skill players that I can lean on. And it's not going to be what I consider like the opposite of that, which is a defensive head coach, bad weather. We're just going to run it, play action, 3rd and long. Hey, go get us a first down. Those are really tough situations to be in for a young guy. And so you want to be in a quarterback-friendly system that probably moves the launch point, gives you some easy completions, allows you to take what you did in college and build on it into kind of how the Sunday game has evolved and kind of blurred a lot of the college game with the RPOs and spreading the field horizontally and those types of things that I think some kind of old heads have a hard time wrapping their mind around when they just want to win with defense and it's a race to 17 every Sunday.
Last question for you before you explain for us, what you've been doing with the quarterback school. What is there a quarterback that might not be one of the top 3 or 4 guys that could potentially be drafted and develop that might be a sleeper for some teams in the later rounds?
The guy that I probably like more than most people when people send me their list, I'm probably higher on Quinn Ewers than most people. I just feel like his highs in college, he played in some really big games, showed a lot of poise, a lot of ability to kind of play his best ball when it mattered most. And I just felt like when he was healthy, which was rare, but when he was healthy, he could spin it as well as anybody in this class. And you just don't see that kind of arm talent across the vast majority of this class. And so I would love for him to be able to go somewhere, get healthy, get stronger, feel like when he gets his opportunity, he could be the best version of himself. And that would be something that I would be pretty fired up if I was a fan of that team.
Oh, JT, last thing for you. You started the quarterback school where you're online and doing a lot of things at thequarterbackschool.com. Tell our listeners where they can find you and also what you do at the quarterback school and what it's all about.
Yeah, you're making it seem like I do a lot of things. It's basically a YouTube channel and a Patreon community that essentially love film. If you are a film nerd from a quarterback-centric perspective, it gets a little bit in the weeds as far as offensive scheme and what I consider high-level football. But it's basically deep dives almost every day over the course of the season and in draft season to just kind of help people take their understanding and enjoyment of football to the next level.
JT, I really appreciate it. We'll try to get you back on during the football season to break down some quarterback play of your own. And thanks again for joining us. Go Pods.
No problem. Happy draft day.
JT O'Sullivan joining us on the Braden Surprenant Show. Really appreciate him taking the time today to talk some NFL quarterbacks and some future NFL quarterbacks with today's draft. A lot of good stuff that you can find out on at thequarterbackschool.com, theqbschool.com. If you're a football sicko and love watching tape, especially quarterback play, JT's got it on his YouTube page. It's pretty cool to go check out. We'll be doing that throughout the year. We'll have our NFL draft show coming up at 5:00 with Chris Ello and Matt Scraby and myself. Getting excited for that. We're getting closer and closer to draft day. Love talking some NFL draft with all of you. We do want to continue some Padres talk as well. If you want to join the show, 833-288-0973, 833-288-0973. We do need a contestant for our midday sports standoff. If you call in, you have a chance to, and take me down, you have a chance to win our grand prize, 2 tickets to either Disturbed, Ghost, or Pantera in Las Vegas, plus a 2-night stay at the MGM Grand in Sin City, and a $150 gift card. You get tickets for all 3 shows now at Ticketmaster.com. If you call in the next 5 minutes or so, we'll try to get the game in the next hour. 833-288-0973, 833-288-0973. Give us a call. Try to take me down in our midday sports standoff, and you could qualify to win a chance to go to Vegas. Go check out Disturbed, Ghost, or Pantera. 833-288-0973, 833-288-0973. We'll be doing that when we come back. Plus, a little preview for you on the NFL draft. The Braden Surprenant Show rolls on. San Diego's #1 sports station, 97.3 The Fan.
Hey, Chris Ella from Gwynn and Chris. The Padres have begun their march to a world title, and we'll be with you every step of the way. Padres news all year long on your #1 sports station, 97.3 The Fan.
Hey, it's Ben from 97.3 The Fan. I lost 40 pounds in 60 days with SDFatLoss.com, and I love hearing these success stories.
I am a listener of 97.3 The Fan, and I heard last summer you and Chris Ello doing this program, and I thought, why can't I be that person? So I decided to give them a call.
So how much weight did you lose?
So in my first 60 days, I actually lost about 50 pounds. Since then, almost a year ago, I've actually dropped an additional 43, totaling 93 pounds.
That's so incredible. So how did you feel as the weight was coming off?
It felt amazing. It's one of those things where you just don't even believe it when it's happening. And what they advertise about up to a pound a day is true. I was losing a pound and a half a day consistently for the first 60 days.
Thank you, Manny, for sharing your great success story with SDFatLoss.com. To learn the secret of losing up to 1 pound of unhealthy fat per day and start your own story, call SDFatLoss.com at 858-665-3211 or go online to SDFatLoss.com. That's SDFatLoss.com.
Need inspiration? Shop Ralph's. For mouth-watering meals and appetizing ingredients. Our low prices add up to big savings. Plus, over $600 in digital coupons each week and up to $1 off per gallon at the pump. At Ralph's, you always get big flavors and big savings. Ralph's, fresh for everyone. Fuel restrictions apply.
Save big on 6 packs of Coca-Cola, Pepsi, or Canada Dry. Select varieties are $3.99 each with your digital coupon plus CRV. Ralph's, fresh for everyone.
San Diego to Tijuana, bus leaving in 3 minutes.
Hey, how are you, babe?
Hi, I'm good, but I wish you were here in Tijuana.
I know. I wish you were here in San Diego. Hey, I just sent you a song.
I love it, but it made me miss you even more.
Next stop, Tijuana Central Bus Terminal.
Hey, go outside.
Wait, why?
What? What are you doing here?
Surprise.
With AT&T, use your plan in Mexico like in the 619. 2 countries, 1 network. Only with AT&T. Available for U.S. customers. Requires eligible plan. Additional speed, coverage, and other restrictions apply. Visit att.com/one network for details.
Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. GEGE 000-466. For a full list of games and rules, play at 7 Mile Casino. Visit 7milecasino.com.
Hey, it's Ben Woods here, reminding you that San Diego's best place to play cards is also its closest. 7 Mile Casino offers Texas Hold'em poker, California-style blackjack, Pai Gow poker, and baccarat.
Make sure you get in on the weekend for their award-winning brunch from Sammy's.
It's so easy to get to. You don't have to drive into the East County. Just head down the 5 freeway to Chula Vista, get off Bay Boulevard right there on San Diego Bay. It's our place. Make it yours. 7 Mile Casino, just 7 minutes from downtown.
When you're hiring, have you ever felt like you're missing out on meeting truly great candidates for your roles? It seems impossible to find them, but they have to be out there somewhere, right? Well, they're not hard to find when you know where to go, and that place is ZipRecruiter. And right now, you can try ZipRecruiter for free at ZipRecruiter.com/free. ZipRecruiter helps 10 million people with their job search every day. And because these people are actively looking for jobs just like yours, it's easy to find the right person right away. In fact, 4 out of 5 employers who post on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate within the first day. But if you're not using ZipRecruiter, you're missing out. So see what it's like when the impossible is easy. When you go to ZipRecruiter.com/free right now to try ZipRecruiter for free. Once again, that's ZipRecruiter.com/free. ZipRecruiter.com/free. Never miss out on great candidates with ZipRecruiter.
For coverage of all things San Diego State Aztecs, check us out on Facebook and Instagram.
You have to use this moment to find a way to get better. And that's what I always say about Aztec basketball. We get better as the season goes on. So we'll learn lessons in defeat.
At 97.3 The Fan. KWFN and KWFN HD1 San Diego.
This is Alec Jacob.
And Cave out in front, swings and misses, strike 3.
Padres play here on San Diego's #1 sports station, 97.3 The Fan.
And Odyssey Sports Station.
There's not a lot of rejoiner songs that we have that gets Adam singing. This one by Hardy seems to be the one that he gets after. I woke up on the wrong side of the truck bed. Does that happen to you a lot, Adam, or something? Is it? Yeah,
Very infrequently.
I was gonna say. Well, you're from Atlanta. Are you do you like country music or no?
I love KSON.
Oh, of
Huge
course.
KSON guy.
Huge K-song guy.
But I would not say I'm a country fan.
I was surprised on the Hardy stuff there. I think Hardy's wife's from San Diego.
That song just makes you want to sing.
Yeah, it does. It's very catchy. I've had a lot of people compliment some of the country music we have coming back from breaks. Michael here has liked the country music, and I've had a couple of people ask what the name of some of the songs were. So I'm glad you enjoy it. I'll try to keep my music fresh here on the Braden Surprenant Show. Today's a big day. Today's a fun day. I love the NFL draft. Can't wait to talk about the NFL draft coming up at 5 o'clock. Can't wait to watch the NFL draft and talk about it at 5 o'clock. It will be on after our Padres Roundtable, which will re-air at 4 o'clock today during Gwynn and Chris. Gwynn and Chris will be 2 to 4.
You going to be able to get along with Ello and Scraby? You made a comment during the roundtable about them being like an old married couple.
I'll get along fine. I just, I don't know how they're going to butt heads all day. I mean, the roundtable, it's when Chris gets his shots in during the roundtable, it's funny. Like, as the host of the roundtable too, I mean, there was some animosity there. There was some head bumping on a lot of those things. Some of the suggestions. Poor Scraby was not Professor Scraby. He had to be Mr. Scraby a couple of times today. But if you didn't hear any of that, you'll be able to hear it coming up at 4 o'clock as we re-air the roundtable. Thanks again for all of you guys joining us today on the YouTube. If you haven't done so already, give us a like on the YouTube page. Padres off day, always a more difficult day for us. A lot of people forget about Padres baseball on the off day, or they just crave it for tomorrow. So tomorrow should be a fun time as the Tampa Bay Rays come into town. But anyway, I love the NFL draft. I love talking about the NFL draft. Today's draft, I think, has a lot of interesting standpoints, a lot of interesting storylines coming up. There's not a lot of question in who the number one pick is going to be in the NFL draft. It sounds like it's going to be Cam Ward for the Tennessee Titans. Now, and we just talked with JT O'Sullivan. We're going to talk with Eddie Brown later on in the 135 about the draft. You look at Tennessee, and they have so many problems. They I don't know what they were doing getting rid of Mike Vrabel. They traded away A.J. Brown. They let Derrick Henry walk. I mean, they've been somewhat of a disaster the last couple of years. They thought Will Levis was going to be the answer. That was a waste of a first-round draft pick, or a waste of a draft pick at quarterback. They had a couple other guys as well. I mean, they believed in Tannehill for way too long. And so they do need a quarterback, but the problem with drafting quarterbacks, like if you're Tennessee, you have nothing around this guy to be successful. Your offensive line isn't very good. I mean, they just picked up Tyler Lockett to be a receiver to help out the which I think will be Cam Ward, obviously. It sounds like that's a foregone conclusion that Cam Ward is going to be the number one overall pick in this year's draft. But you look at the Titans, they went 3-14 last year. They were dead last in the AFC South. They ended up firing their general manager and Ran Carthen. Brian Callahan, it was his first year last year. He'll be going in the second year. First season since 2015 was last year without Derrick Henry. They were 27th in points scored, 25th in points allowed, 22nd overall in special teams. Quarterback ranking was 30th. Offensive line was okay in the middle of the pack at 18th. Had a good defensive line. The defense was pretty solid for Tennessee, but they're just not that great of a team. And they're not going to be that great of a team. They tried to help out and try to bring something in, I guess, with some of their offseason moves, but really not that much. And so you look at the Titans with 8 picks in this year's draft. I know Cam Ward, and they need a quarterback. I know Cam Ward's the best available quarterback in this year's draft. We just heard JT O'Sullivan talk about it. The guy has shined everywhere he's played, whether it be Incarnate Word, Washington State, or the University of Miami. I mean, he just worked up the ladder, in his college days. But to me, like a team like Tennessee, I feel like they should be drafting other positions, and then in a couple of years, then you get your quarterback when you have protection. I mean, there's a lot of great players in this draft that they could potentially pick up to be playmakers. I mean, Travis Hunter's one of them. Abdul Carter's probably one of the best players in this year's draft. But Tennessee's going to go get the quarterback. Is Cam Ward the best player in the draft? I tend to not think that. I mean, next year's draft is even better for quarterbacks. Tennessee theoretically, and they're already, it's already a foregone conclusion they're going to get Cam Ward. But Tennessee could theoretically get it Abdul Carter or Travis Hunter, really load up on interior players and help with the secondary. And then next year, get your skill position and your quarterback, and then you have your window to go out there and win. But they're going to go with Cam Ward in the first pick. You look at Cleveland with the second pick. And if you go based on like a mock draft, I mean, obviously Cam Ward's going to be number 1 for me. Just because he fits the need. Nothing official until the commissioner reads the name, but, Ward is probably the foregone conclusion for the Titans. Which would mean 19 of the last 26 top picks are quarterbacks, including 9 of the last 11. Tennessee needs a quarterback. They need a receiver. They need a tackle. They're going to address quarterback with the first pick. You look at Cleveland with number 2. I think they can go 2 totally different directions. Travis Hunter, I think it'd be very difficult for Cleveland to pass up a player like Travis Hunter. And the pick has been trending towards Travis Hunter. Cleveland needs a quarterback. They need an edge rusher. They also need a tackle, but it's hard to pass up on a guy that a lot of GMs are considering the Shohei Ohtani of the NFL. Now, whether or not Travis Hunter can play both ways in the NFL will remain to be seen. But I watched his tape last night. Receiver, I don't think he's as big of a difference maker at receiver as he is at cornerback. When I watched his receiver tape yesterday, it was good, but it wasn't anything I was like, wow, that's just super impressive. I wasn't overly enthralled by him being a receiver. When he was playing corner last year for Colorado and watching the tape of him being a corner, not only do I think that translates to the NFL, but he's the best cornerback in the draft. And watching him play in man coverage and zone coverage, some of his recovery moves that he had as a cornerback last year for Colorado, I mean, just plays where I had to rewind and just was wowed by Travis Hunter. Wowed. So you add more to your defense. Cleveland's defense is really good, obviously, with the interior linemen that they have. That's one way they could go. Or they could just go super heavy on D-line and get a guy like Abdul Carter and then probably have the most dangerous defensive line in the National Football League. You already have the best D lineman in the NFL right now, Myles Garrett. You add another guy like Abdul Carter, that wins you football games at all levels. Depending what Cleveland does at 2, I think what happens at number 3 of the Giants. If the Cleveland takes Travis Hunter, the Giants are going to take Abdul Carter. If the Browns take Abdul Carter, they're going to take Travis Hunter with the 3rd pick, the Giants are. I don't see them using the number 3 pick of the draft to draft Shedeur Sanders. Do I think the Giants can get Shedeur Sanders? I do. I think the Giants trade their 2nd pick up to the 1st round and get Shedeur before the Steelers draft. Now, you heard JT O'Sullivan talk about Shedeur Sanders and talking about quarterbacks in general. You want an offensive-minded coach playing in an offensive-minded scheme, not playing in cold weather where they grind the ball out. That, you know what that is? That's the Pittsburgh Steelers. So that might not be a good spot for the Pittsburgh Steelers or for Shedeur Sanders and playing in Pittsburgh. They might be better off with like Aaron Rodgers over there anyway. But I do think the Giants are afraid of that potentially happening. Now, that being said, Joe Sheen of the New York Giants, the general manager, his son, who famously last year on Hard Knocks said to go draft the Jaden Daniels before Washington did, because you only get this job once. Don't mess it up, Dad. Has put on his Instagram, in which he has now gone private, a highlight reel of Jackson Dart. So maybe the New York Giants believe in Jackson Dart more than Shedeur Sanders in New York. I think Shedeur Sanders has all the metrics and capabilities of being a really good NFL quarterback. I watched his tape last night. Not as in-depth as JT, but he completes a lot of his passes. He makes a lot of good throws. You know, he does take a lot of sacks, which he shouldn't. But the biggest thing for me on Shedeur Sanders is whether or not he can play for anyone that's not his dad. He's played for his dad his whole life. He played for his dad probably in youth. I don't know if that for a fact or not. I would imagine so. Played for his dad all through high school. Played for his dad all through college at Jackson State and then at Colorado. Can he be able to do it in the National Football League without his dad there? What team is willing to sign up for that? We've seen some of the, executives talking about, some of the stories with Shedeur Sanders. This is very much like anonymous BS time as ever. But you look at Shedeur, I think he could be a good quarterback. I don't think the Giants take him with number 3. I think they go with Abdul Carter or Travis Hunter, whoever doesn't get picked at number 2 by the Browns. You look at New England, sounds like they're going to get Will Campbell. He is the best tackle in the NFL draft. His biggest problem is his arm length. But Mike Vrabel doesn't appear to be afraid of the arm length of Will Campbell. He's a tackle for LSU. Really good player at 6'6". They need to help protect Drake May. Jacksonville is a little bit of a wild card. They need some defensive help. And I'm going to tell you right now, a player that I thought looked like the best on tape that I was really impressed with was the defensive tackle for Michigan in Mason Graham. 6'4", 296. The guy's quick inside the interior. He's out of Anaheim, California with the Servite. Played on the same Servite team as McMillan, the wide receiver for Arizona. A Servite team, by the way, that was one of the first teams. The Trinity League in Orange County is built on St. John Bosco and Mater Dei. I mean, they're the 2 best teams in the country every year. Servites hasn't been able to beat them in a long period of time. Now, they were really good back in the day, but they haven't been able to beat them. But you look at the last Servite team to beat St. John Bosco, that was Mason Graham's senior year. And there's a reason why they were able to beat St. John Bosco in the postseason. They got a guy like Mason Graham playing in the interior. He's quick. He's dynamic. He can play. I watched him play on tape. A 0 tech, a 1 tech, a 3 tech. He's lined up as a 5 tech a couple of times. He's the fastest moving interior lineman that I have seen. And he's the fastest guy in this year's draft in the interior line. That guy's a stud. And whoever decides to grab him is going to be a big W in the draft. So it comes down to whether or not Jacksonville wants to pick him up or not. You look at the Jags overall and what their needs are. D-line is like their biggest need. But there is some talk to potentially bring back the hometown kid in Genti. Man, I love the draft. We're just getting into it. We're talking more about the NFL draft when we come back. Again, Mason Graham might be one of the best players in this year's draft. That guy's a stud. 833-288-0973, 833-288-0973. Let me know if you have any draft questions. Try to talk some more Padres baseball for you as well. Braden Surprenant Show, taking up to 2 o'clock on San Diego's #1 sports station, 97.3 The Fan.
San Diego, North County, Escondido. It's time to roll into Petco CDJR and Poway. San Diego's home for big trucks, Jeeps, and Rams that are priced to move. Got a trade? Bring it in. We'll pay you up to 120% of Kelly Blue Book value for your car or truck in any condition. Petco CDJR is less than a 30-minute drive from anywhere in San Diego and North County. And the short trip to Poway will save you thousands. Petco Chrysler, Dodge, Jeep, Ram, and Poway. Get more for less. We sell the best.
This is Brent Wilsey, co-host of Smart Investing Show. Are you confused on how to invest your money? Not sure who to ask for advice? Do you want an unbiased opinion? I've been educating San Diegans for over 30 years on how to invest. And my son Chase joined as co-host of Smart Investing Show almost a decade ago, adding even more usable information.
This is Chase Wilsey. If you are looking to become a smarter investor, follow and listen to the Smart Investing Show with Brent and Chase Wilsey wherever you get your podcasts, or visit smartinvesting2000.com.
Prescriptions require an online consultation with a healthcare provider who will determine if appropriate. Restrictions apply. See website for details and important safety information. Price varies based on product and subscription plan.
Hey guys, let's talk ED because millions of men experience it, but not everyone can access or afford treatments like Viagra. Well, Hims can help. Through Hims.com, you can get a full range of treatment options for ED, including daily or as-needed meds through a 100% online process. It all starts with an online intake form. Get started at hims.com/joy. And from there, a medical provider licensed in your state will determine if ED treatment is right for you. If prescribed, your medication is shipped to you for free. Find the ED treatment that fits your needs with options up to 95% less than the brand names. Millions of men experience ED, but Hims can help. To start your free online visit and save up to 95%, go to hims.com/joy. That's hims.com/joy for your free online visit. HIMS.com/JOY.
Hey guys, it is Woodsy. And if I told you we could finally calm that debilitating joint pain in your knees, hips, shoulders, and back and not miss a beat, wouldn't you do that? Wouldn't you sign up for that today? Call QC Kinetics. Their science is solid. They will give you your life back. It worked for me. Could not imagine how much pain I'd be in right now without my friends over at QC Kinetics. Call now. Find out how easy it is to get back to enjoying life without chronic joint pain. 619-614-PAIN. 619-614-PAIN. It's QC Kinetics. 619-614-PAIN.
I'm Jenna Fisher. And I'm Angela Kinsey. And together we have the podcast Office Ladies. Just because we finished rewatching The Office does not mean we're going anywhere. Every Wednesday, we'll be sharing even more exclusive stories from The Office and our friendship with brand new guests. Plus, you can revisit all the Office Ladies rewatch episodes every Monday with new bonus tidbits before every episode. So follow and listen to Office Ladies on the free Odyssey app and wherever you get your podcasts.
Catchy tune, right?
But don't let the urge to sing along distract you from the truck drifting towards your lane or that lane-splitting biker creeping up beside you. Fortunately, every Hyundai offers advanced safety features that can alert you to potential dangers around you. And Hyundai has over 130 IIHS Top Safety Awards since 2006. Because Hyundai is always working to ensure the road doesn't. IIHS Top Safety Awards include Top Safety Pick and Top Safety Pick Plus awards to Hyundai vehicles from 2006 to 2025.
Were you in a car crash? Call the Barnes firm now. Right now. 1-800-8-million.
A mix of clouds and sun, also breezy, low to mid-60s.
Weather brought to you by Robert Half. Our recruiters' expertise and award-winning AI will find you the skilled candidates you want. At Robert Half, we know talent. Visit roberthalf.com/talent today.
Friar Faithful, we've got you covered every Thursday at 10 a.m. when the fan staff comes together in our weekly Padres Roundtable, delivered by San Diego Roundtable Pizza. For takeout or delivery, go to roundtablepizza.com. Roundtable Pizza, it's pizza royalty.
Done with the Braden Surprenant show today. Always a fast show on Thursdays. I'm talking some NFL draft. We're going to continue that coverage at about 1:35 when Eddie Brown will join the show. We'll talk about the first round, what to expect, maybe some surprises, things to be on the lookout for. Now, I will have to say, Eddie Brown put out his mock draft. According to the Huddle Report, this is in his latest mock draft, and I believe it. Eddie's been spot on. According to the Huddle Report, Eddie Brown was the third most accurate NFL draft prognosticator in print last season. He's tied for 5th overall out of 172 over the past 5 years. Guy knows his ball. As our guy Jacob in Phoenix says, guy knows ball. Speaking of knowing ball, let's talk about some Padres baseball a little bit more. Again, we mentioned it earlier in the show. And we'll kind of reset some talking points from the roundtable. Chris Ello asked, what kind of grade do you give the San Diego Padres for the first 25 games of the season? Now, it's not the first 25%, first 25 games, which is still relatively a small sample size. And most people agreed with our panel and said an A. I think the lowest you could go is probably a B+, but even then it's kind of ridiculous. And the Padres are a game in front of the Dodgers right now in the standings. They've been playing good baseball. They're beat up. They're injured. And they're still continuing to play good baseball. They're treading water. They're doing a good job of keeping the boat afloat, as Manny Machado would say, as he has said. Padres lost yesterday 6-0. It's more of an anomaly than anything else. And when you look at overall on this team, I think they're built for success. Now, you look at their home and road splits, I think it's a small sample size. But I think a lot of it has to do with the fact that the Padres have been why they've been so good at home is because of all of you out there supporting. I mean, look at some of the games the Padres have played on the road this year when you're watching on TV. There's like 25 people. There's like 25 people at the Tigers game. They're one of the better teams in the American League. Okay, well, expectations weren't that great, I guess, for the Tigers. They did make the playoffs last year. What about some other teams in the league? I mean, you watch Diamondback games in Arizona. There's nobody at Diamondbacks games. They're expected to be really good. They got young, talented players. But Padres fans are there every single night, day in, day out. They're selling out day games on a Wednesday. Just a remarkable start, at least at home. So you look at their overall splits, again, home and away. Padres have been a lot better at home than they've been on the road. And as I mentioned on the roundtable, what a difference a year makes. I mean, last year at this time, we're talking about how bad they've been at home and how it's like, oh my God, I can't wait to get back on the road when the Padres are win. They're getting all the fan support, yet they couldn't get the W's, didn't put up good numbers. In terms of home and away splits this year, the Padres are hitting 277 at home, 250 on the road. An OPS of 795 at home, 673 on the road. Compared to other teams in baseball, on their OPS plus for the league split, they're 17% above average teams playing at home. So out of all the teams playing at home this year, the Padres are above the norm by 17%. They're just slightly above the norm by 1% in away games. Probably playing average baseball on the road. 14 homers at Petco Park, 61 runs driven in. They've walked 55 times at Petco Park as well. And again, the home and away splits, they've done a really good job playing at home compared to on the road. Same thing as with pitching. You can look at their runners in scoring position stats if you would like. But as much as we look at the runners in scoring position for the San Diego Padres, I look at more so opportunities more than actual results. Because the more you put yourself in that situation, eventually things will come through. And some guys are doing a lot better than others when it comes to runners in scoring position. Obviously, guys like Manny Machado. Machado's had 21 at-bats with runners in scoring position. He's hitting .381 in the year. He's tied with Luis Arraez for the most at-bats with runners in scoring position. We talk about it a lot that we think Luis Arraez is a more of a threat batting lower in the order with runners in scoring position than he is batting leadoff. Now, he is on the injured list as of right now. He should be back for the series against the Giants, as reported by Kevin Acee. And nothing official yet from the Padres. If you had to guess Luis Arraez batting average with runners in scoring position, what would you think it would be this year? He's batting 191 right now with runners in scoring position. He's been up there 21 times. He has 4 hits with runners in scoring position. It was brought up by Chris Ello today on the home runs, like multi-run home runs. Red Sox have hit 9 home runs this year. Before this game, I don't even know what's going on in the Red Sox-Mariners game. Mariners up 4-3 in the bottom of the ninth. But the Red Sox have hit 9 home runs that are 3-run homer or more, including grand slams, obviously. The Padres, guess how many home runs the Padres have with runners in scoring position in 2025? 1. Padres have 1 home run with runners in scoring position in 2025. It was Jake Cronenworth. He's not even in the lineup right now because he's hurt. But again, looking at opportunities, Machado's had 21 opportunities with runners in scoring position. He's done his job hitting .381. Luis Arraez has had 21 opportunities. He's hitting .191. Gavin Sheets in 20 at-bats is 6 for 20. He's hitting .300 with a .775 OPS with runners in scoring position. Xander at the next spot hitting .200. He definitely needs to step that up a little bit. He's hitting .200. He's 4 for 20 with runs scored, 8 runs scored, and a double. 4 RBIs. Elias Diaz is hitting .63. Jose Iglesias hitting .429. If you just want to look at batting average with runners in scoring position, Iglesias, Machado, Gonzalez, Lockridge, and Fernando are your top 5. Lockridge has only had 6 at-bats with runners in scoring position. He's 2 for 6. Guys at the bottom, Connor Joe, Mason McCoy, Tirso Ornelas, all relatively not that great of a sample size. Diaz is arguably the worst with 19 plate appearances. He's only gotten 1 hit in 16 at-bats with a couple of RBIs and 2 walks. 063. Martin Maldonado, 091. Jackson Merrill has not had too many opportunities with runners in scoring position. He's only had 9 at-bats. He's hitting 111. Yuli Gurriel, 143. Tyler Wade, 167. Luis Arraez, 191. Xander Bogaerts, 200. Jason Hayward even has a higher average, 231. Jake Cronenworth hitting 250. A lot of those numbers could be a lot better. Jose Iglesias leads the team, 429 average. Manny Machado really doing the damage with runners in scoring position, which is something that needs to be taken advantage of for the Padres on the road. That was kind of the deep dive on the runners in scoring position. In terms of some clutch stats, 2 outs with runners in scoring position, just to kind of look at where the Padres are at right now. Luis Arraez has had the most at-bats with 15, with runners in scoring position and 2 outs. He's batting 200. Yuli Gurriel is hitting 167 with 12 at-bats. Manny Machado again, 4 for 9, 5 runs scored, 3 RBIs, 444 batting average with an 11-11 OPS. Next best on the team is Fernando, hitting 429 with runners in scoring position, 2 outs, and a 1029 OPS. It needs to be a little bit better, but a lot of these guys, especially the stars, have been contributing so far. And again, for everybody that likes to call in and really get on Xander Bogaerts, if you want to drop the runners in scoring position and 2 outs runners in scoring position, yeah, he definitely needs to step it up on that particular category. But he's only had 7 at-bats. It's hard to judge a player on 7 at-bats. He's 1 for 7 with 3 runs scored and 1 RBI with runners in scoring position and 2 outs. Some of the clutch stats. Fernando with the most RBIs with 4. Manny's got 3. Padres yet to hit a home run with runners in scoring position and 2 outs. And they only have 6 extra base hits over that time period as well. 833-288-0973, 833-288-0973. We're going to talk some NFL draft in just a little bit. But again, with the Padres, they will start a 3-game series against Tampa coming up this weekend. Tampa this year will have more of a scouting report tomorrow. Ha-Seong Kim's on the team, but he's not going to be playing until at least June. But Tampa comes in 10-14 on the season. They just finished up a series with Arizona against the Diamondbacks in the desert. In fact, they got one more game tonight. They've split the series so far 1-1. Lost 5-1 a couple of days ago, won 7-6 yesterday. They will play at 6:40 tonight against the Diamondbacks in the desert before heading over to San Diego. Tampa this year with the 10 wins and the 14 losses, took 2 out of 3 from Colorado and Pittsburgh, got swept by Texas, lost 2 out of 3 to the Angels, beat the Braves 2 out of 3, and then have gone 1-2 against the Red Sox, 1-3 against the Yankees, and are looking to try to snap their 2-game series or 2-series losing streak against the Arizona Diamondbacks tonight at 6:40. Boz, Pepio, and Littell are expected to pitch this weekend against the San Diego Padres. Should be King, Cease, and Vasquez for the Padres. Should be a fun series coming up. Not enough, Johnny, in the chat. If you want to join the show, 833-288-0973, 833-288-0973. Do have one call we want to get to. Mike in Chula Vista. Mike, you're on the Braden Surprenant Show. What's going on?
Hey, buddy, how you doing? First
Doing
time
well.
caller. I'm normally working, but I took a break having lunch. Man, you're cool, dude.
Thank you.
I really like your take. I'm normally pessimistic about the Padres, to be honest with you. I do think people like Xander need to really step it up this year. But at home we're good, right? We're really good. We're winning when we're at home. So we need to take a look at what we're doing on the road, right? Especially. So, but I'm going to stay optimistic. We have some, key injuries to what we got going on. So hopefully we could get Merrill back. By the way, if you could try to touch on this, because I haven't really heard much of it. When is Merrill expected to come back? Do we have anything on that?
Mike, I appreciate the phone call. There's no real timetable for Merrill to come back. According to Kevin Acee in his latest ordeal when it comes to Jackson Merrill, it sounds like they could potentially, be back around, maybe right before the road trip to Pittsburgh. I don't expect them to be back against Tampa, and don't expect them to be back against the Giants. I think that would be the ultimate optimistic outlook, but it does sound like it might be closer towards the series in Pittsburgh. But again, there's no timetable for his return. 833-288-0973, 833-288-0973. I'll get back to your phone calls in just a little bit. Got to take a quick break. Plus, we got Eddie Brown coming on the show to finish off the show, get you a preview of the first round of the NFL draft before we get to our draft show coming up at 5 o'clock. I'm Braden Surprenant. This is the Braden Surprenant Show on San Diego's #1 sports station, 97 through the Fan.
Ben and Woods on the Fan.
Got a fun show for you planned on a Friar Friday. We'll get you ready for Padres versus Rays this weekend when AJ Preller joins the show at 8 o'clock.
Listen to Ben and Woods weekdays from 6 to 10 on 97.3 The Fan.
Greetings, Earth. I bring you news. Human musical group sensations, Glass Animals, are performing live. Tour of Earth, San Diego. They love you so much. See them live at North Island Credit Union Amphitheater, Friday, September 13th, with special guest iDress. Get tickets now at livenation.com. The brand new album is available everywhere July 19th. Part of the Sycuan Casino Resort Concert Series.
We have a great pool and spa in our backyard, but my parents cleaning it themselves wasn't working out. Then they hired a random guy, but it was always dirty.
Dude, it's just algae.
Finally, they got it right by hiring GL Pools.
At GL Pools, we know you worked hard for your backyard, and so will we. Contact GL Pools today and mention radio for 1 free month of pool service up to $200 in value with no contract, no commitment. GLPools.com, local to San Diego County and family owned since 2006. That's GLPools.com.
San Diego to Tijuana, bus leaving in 3 minutes.
Hey, how are you, babe?
Hi, I'm good, but I wish you were here in Tijuana.
I know. I wish you were here in San Diego. Hey, I just sent you a song.
I love it, but it made me miss you even more.
Next stop, Tijuana Central Bus Terminal.
Hey, go outside.
Wait, why?
What? What are you doing here? Surprise.
With AT&T, use your plan in Mexico like in the 619. 2 countries, 1 network. Only with AT&T. Available for U.S. customers. Requires eligible plan. Additional speed, coverage, and other restrictions apply. Visit att.com/one network for details.
Hey guys, it's Woodsy. Underdog just became one of the best places to make picks during the basketball playoffs with their extender promo. With the extender, you can play your way to increasingly bigger boosts each round of the playoffs. Start a playoff series by using your Game 1 boost. Continue boosting each subsequent game to unlock the next one. The longer the series, the bigger the boost. Playing on Underdog is a layup. Just download the app, pick higher or lower on player stats like points, assists, rebounds, and more. If you get your picks correct, you can win up to 1,000 times your money, so you could turn $1 into $1,000 with just your hoops knowledge. Very, very simple. Download the Underdog app and sign up with promo code WOODS to unlock a special offer of up to $1,000 in bonus cash when you make your first deposit. That's promo code WOODS. Must be 18 and over, 19 and over in Alabama and Nebraska, and present in a state where Underdog Fantasy operates. Terms apply. See assets.underdogfantasy.com/web/extend.html for details. Concerned with your play? Call 1-800-GAMBLER or visit ncpgambling.org.
Welcome to Staples.
Hi, I hear Staples prints it all.
Oh, you bet. Posters, banners.
Can you print it all for Mother's Day?
Oh, of course. Photo gifts like canvas prints, photo puzzles.
Can you print it all for graduation?
Sure can. Custom cards and invites.
Can you print a huge banner with the grad's picture?
Oh, definitely.
Even an embarrassing baby picture?
Oh, those are the best kind.
I know, right?
Print it all for moms and grads at Staples. And right now, get 40% off custom cards, invites, and photo gifts. N75 exclusions apply. Visit staples.com/print for details.
You know what's better than a limited time deal? An unlimited time deal. That's why the Wendy's $5 Biggie Bag with a Junior Bacon Cheeseburger, 4-piece nugs, Junior Hot and Crispy Fries, and small soft drink is available all the time. Because the best time for fresh, never frozen beef and Applewood smoked bacon is all the time. Duh. I feel like I'm repeating myself a lot. For the best deal of all time, gotta be Wendy's.
Unlimited time does not mean forever. U.S. price and participation may vary. Prices may be higher in Alaska, Hawaii, and California via third-party delivery. Fresh beef available in the contiguous U.S., Alaska, and Canada.
Drafting the perfect roster means getting the right balance of power and performance. Season after season, Ego Outdoor Power Equipment has drafted a truly innovative lineup of cordless tools that has the power of gas without the noise, fuss, or fumes. Plus, the same battery powers all Ego essentials, from mowers and blowers to chainsaws and trimmers. It's all power, zero compromise. Check out the Ego lineup of spring must-have tools at egopowerplus.com.
Empower.
Jen has ordered a decadent seafood tower, king crab legs, lobster tails, and a waterfall of caviar. Pricey? You bet. But Jen worked with Empower on her savings and investment strategy and planned for splurges like these. She got good at money, so she can be a little bad. Ooh, champagne. Empower. Invest well, live a little. Start today at empower.com.
Past performance is not indicative of future returns. Investing involves risk. You may lose money. Advisory services are provided for a fee by Empower Advisory Group, LLC, EAG, a registered investment advisor with the Securities and Exchange Commission. OMG, those shrimps are really jumbo.
So the Braden Surprenant Show on NFL Draft Thursday, first round of the NFL Draft. We'll start at 5 o'clock. We'll have the coverage right here on San Diego's #1 sports station, 97.3 The Fan. I will be on the show with Chris Ello and Matt Scravey as we take it through the entire first round of the NFL Draft on a Padres off day. And to give us a little bit of a preview, San Diego Union-Tribune's NFL Draft analyst and fantasy sports guru, as I've seen, he has now updated his Twitter profile to copy what he had in his mock draft that I just alluded to a couple of segments ago. 6th most accurate prognosticator in 5-year mock draft rankings with the Huddle Report. How about that, Eddie? Huh? Guy can tell the future a little bit.
Yeah, it's a lot of fun. This is kind of my Christmas in late April. I always kind of refer to it, and a lot of work goes into it. But it's good times and good to be right occasionally.
That's right. It's always good to be right occasionally. I'm sure we'll meet up with you again during the draft show. We appreciate you joining us as we led up to the draft. A lot of questions here in the first round and a lot of not so much questions as we have really guaranteed almost the first pick here with the Tennessee Titans and Cam Ward. You have him going to the Titans just like everybody else and everybody's mock drafts. Is there any situation where Cam Ward's not the #1 overall pick?
Oh, no, I can't imagine there is. I think that's been the pick probably for about 2-3 months. I think the Giants tried really, 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 really hard to trade up to #1 for Cam Ward. And I guess they just didn't offer enough. I think it would have truly taken like a Godfather type deal for the Titans to move out. And it doesn't seem like the Giants were able to make it happen. So no, I think that's a lock.
Coming up with Cleveland 2 and Giants 3, and we're not going to go through every single pick of the first round, but focusing on a lot of the bigger storylines and really the questions that I have. Cleveland could go in a couple of different directions. Obviously, you have Travis Hunter there, which I'll have a follow-up question for at #2. Would be very difficult to pass up a guy that could play both offense and defense, but obviously a need at quarterback and edge rusher. Abdul Carter's right there as well. They could take the route of taking Abdul and having a great pairing on the D-line with Myles Garrett, or they could go the phenom with Travis Hunter. I know you think, and a lot of other experts think they're going to go with Travis Hunter. Is there any reason to pass up Travis Hunter for Abdul Carter if you're Cleveland?
I mean, it's a 1 and 1A situation. Those are the two top players on most people's board. I'm actually one of the few that has Ashton Jeanty above them, but I think all three of those players are top tier prospects. No, it's really dealer's choice, because if you take Carter, you can pair him with Myles Garrett. If you take Hunter, then you have potentially a generational talent on par with Shohei Ohtani in baseball. And the Browns need some sort of talent infusion. So I think either would work. And I think basically the way this draft's going to work is whoever the Browns take, the Giants is going to take, they're going to take the one who doesn't get picked at #2.
As we follow all day long, Eddie, a lot of movement on the waiver wire or on the Twitter sphere when it comes to rumors and everything like that. The latest one coming from Ian Rappaport. I don't want to put you on the spot here, but it does lead to an interesting question, as well as Diana Rossini, both reporting that the Jaguars might be interested in trading up to 2 with Cleveland. So who that might be for will remain to be seen. I'll ask you that question in a second. And the other one, of course, from Diana Rossini is Andrew Berry, the general manager of the Browns, has been actively listening to offers with the #2 overall pick. Let's start there. How likely do you think the Browns are at trading the #2 pick to get things started here in the NFL draft?
I don't think it's likely. I think it'll take one of those Godfather offers we were just talking about. Obviously Barry's going to listen, and see what Jacksonville has. But I don't think it's going to happen unless Jacksonville, and I think I know who they're targeting, unless they really want to, that's their guy and they're going to basically mortgage their draft to go get him.
And you have the local guy from Jacksonville, Ashton Genty, in your latest mock draft. Is that the player you think Jacksonville would trade up for that number 2 spot, or do you think maybe they might want to switch and go to Travis Hunter?
No, I think it'd be Hunter. If they're going up to 2, it's going to be Hunter because they're in the driver's seat for Genty at this point. I think the only way they don't take Genty is if the Bears jump up from 10 to number 5. And give them, a nice haul for them to move back. And at that point, I think they'd probably, if they were at 10, they'd probably target somebody like Ted McMillan.
Eddie Brown joining us on the Braden Surprenant Show. You can follow him at UT Eddie Brown. He is the draft guru and fantasy football expert for the San Diego Union-Tribune, talking about the first round of the NFL draft, which will start at 5 o'clock. We'll have our show starting at 5 o'clock as well on San Diego's #1 sports station, 97.3. The Fan. When it comes to offensive linemen, I'm a big advocate for offensive linemen getting drafted. This is where you build your team. That's where you got to get a lot of your picks in the first round. There's not a lot of these gigantic human beings to go around that can run and move at a high level. Will Campbell has been the number 1 offensive tackle for a lot of people. How do you see the offensive tackles ranking? And do you think New England is okay with Campbell's arm length if they decide to go that direction?
Yeah, I think Vrabel's fine with it. He was, part of the Titans group that drafted Peter Skoronski a couple of years back. Also, with Campbell's arm length popping up to 33 inches and not being under 33 inches, it's not that big of a deal. I think if we were talking about 32.5 inches like we were at the combine or close to that, there might be a little bit more apprehension. But I think more importantly for Vrabel, it's the person, it's the character on top of the talent. I think Campbell knocked it out of the park when they met. And Vrabel's trying to set a different tone in New England and trying to get that franchise back on track. And I think, having him on protecting his franchise quarterback is a good place to start.
I want to go back to Travis Hunter for a second because obviously a lot of moving parts with the number 2 pick. You had him listed as like him at receiver. I've watched tape at receiver and cornerback. He seems like he's really excelled at corner. I'm imagine that most teams will give him a chance to do both for a little bit of time. But is he going to be a corner or is he going to be a wide receiver? Where's his primary position going to be, in your opinion?
Well, if he gets drafted to Cleveland, it's going to be receiver, and they're going to give him a shot at corner at some point. I see him as a receiver who can play corner. I think he should be able to play both. He's earned every single opportunity to be able to go out there and play both sides of the ball. I think he has improved at cornerback the last few years. I think he's worked the hardest at cornerback, but he's naturally a receiver. He didn't spend a lot of time in receiving rooms. He didn't spend a lot of time on plays. He didn't spend a lot of time working on routes at Colorado. That was all natural ability that we saw on the field. And I kind of look at him like Shohei Ohtani. I'd rather Shohei Ohtani be a hitter than a pitcher, because a starting pitcher can only affect baseball game, once a week, probably, maybe twice a week if you're lucky. But a hitter can go out there every day and make an impact. And I see it the same way. You can get Hunter the ball as a receiver a lot easier than you can get him the ball as a defensive back.
We got some local connections in the draft as well, Eddie, especially involving the first round. Eddie Brown from the San Diego Union-Tribune joining us. Josh Simmons, who went to Madison High School, he ended up transferring to Helix, in his last year, which was the COVID year, early enrollee at San Diego State before ending up going to Ohio State, having a really good year. He had an injury, which has kind of knocked him back. A lot of experts think he's the best tackle in the NFL draft. If he was not hurt. You have him going to Arizona at 16. Is there any potential for him to go higher in the draft, knowing his injury that everybody's worried about?
Maybe just outside the top 10. I could see the Niners considering him at 11. I could see the Cowboys considering him. I certainly could see the Dolphins considering him. I pushed him up my board a little bit once he got really good news on the patella. And so I think everybody's okay with that injury. I think more people have been convinced that he's going to be fine. He's going to be ready to go, and it's not going to be some sort of lasting impact. And I think once you can get there medically, the talent was very impressive when he was on the field this year. And in a lot of ways, probably the best tackle in the draft class, if you just factor in this season, or last season. So I think you're going to see him. Most mocks probably a week ago, 2 weeks ago, before the medical eval came out, had him at the back end of the first round, which seemed fair considering his talent, but also the injury risk. But if the meds check out for a team, I think you could see him going somewhere between 11 and 20.
Dallas Cowboys, America's team. A lot of experts haven't taken a wide receiver with their number 12 pick. We've seen a lot of Tatori McMillan news to Dallas. Matthew Golden, being a Texas Longhorn, obviously is in play. You mentioned one of those players being more of a fit than the other. The other name that has kind of popped up as of the last 24 hours is the potential of Tyler Warren, a tight end from Penn State who can really do it all, falls to Dallas. They might be able to take him at that position. Where do you see the Dallas Cowboys going? Do you think it's definitely going to be a skill position player?
I do. I'm probably about 75% sure it's going to be a skill position. I like I said, in my mock, I think Tet is a better fit than Golden, but I think both would be really good there, and both could find ways to play opposite CeeDee Lamb. I would be intrigued to see them draft Tyler Warren. I mean, he obviously can do a lot of different things on offense for them, but they have some pretty decent tight ends. So that'd be interesting. I think there's an outside shot. I think that's the first chance we get a little bit of a curveball, and maybe you see the first guard come off the board, and maybe like Gray Zabel or Tyler Booker. So that's the 25% that I'm not sure of that they draft a skill position.
Eddie, I got I was watching a lot of tape yesterday, and I'm cramming for the tests a little bit more than you are, who continues to put out mock drafts during the NFL season and have paid close attention to this. I really liked, at least on tape, that of all the guys that I saw that could project to go in the first round, I thought defensive tackle Mason Graham might be one of the most valuable picks anybody can have in the NFL draft. He comes out of Servite, played with McMillan at Servite High School. It's the first Servite team to beat St. John Bosco in a long period of time. And he went out and dominated Michigan. Defensive tackle that can move. You can play him as a 0 all the way to a 5 technique. I'm sure he fits more of a 1 or a 3 technique in the NFL. But what can you tell us about Mason Graham? And is there a Michigan connection to be had in the first 10 picks?
Oh yeah, I mean, I think he ended up number 4 on my top 100. He's pretty much been a top 5 guy for me this entire time. I think he's getting kind of like Will Campbell, getting kind of bashed for, having a little bit shorter arm length than what you would want a prototypical defensive tackle to have. But man, the guy just dominates. He's a disruptor against the run on a consistent basis and against the pass. The sacks haven't been there in college, but I actually think there's some upside there in the pros as he continues to develop as a pass rusher. I think the connections are kind of obvious. If we end up with the top 5 of Ward, Hunter, Carter, Campbell, and Ginty, I think the Raiders sitting there at 6, man. I think that comes down to probably Kelvin Banks or Mason Graham, and the connections between, new GM John Spytek and obviously my minority owner Tom Brady. They know what they're getting there. I don't think they're going to be as concerned with the short arms as maybe some other teams will. And also, I think there are some issues there with Christian Wilkins and whether his foot's healing properly or not. I think that would be a great pick for the Raiders at 6.
Eddie, love talking football with you, man. We'll look forward to doing it later on this evening on our draft show after the first 10 picks. I know you're going to be bunkered in and ready to cover this, and you're going to have coverage throughout the entire weekend. So if anybody wants to check out Eddie Brown, he's at UT Eddie Brown on Twitter. Eddie, appreciate the time, man.
Thanks, Brandon. Talk to you later.
Eddie Brown does a great job with the NFL draft. As I mentioned before, and I'll continue to say it, 6th most accurate prognosticator in the 5-year mock draft rankings with the Huddle Report. Guy knows his stuff. So he's got his mock draft up. Check it out. We'll talk about my mock draft during the draft show. And we're going to have fun on the draft. I can't wait for the draft show. It's so much fun. We're going to have Spiros coming in, catering the draft show. Me, Matt Scraby, Chris L. What more do you need? Guys being dudes, talking football. on San Diego's number one sports station, 97.3 The Fan. Tomorrow, on tomorrow's show, we will have a recap of the first round of the NFL draft, kind of preview for the weekend in the NFL draft. We'll talk Padres and Rays. Ha-Seong Kim going to be with the Rays. Not playing, but he'll be there. What kind of standing ovation does he get tomorrow at Petco Park? Or a thank you. Maybe he does, maybe he doesn't. We'll find out. We'll talk about it tomorrow as well. I'm Braden Surprenant. This has been the Braden Surprenant Show. Tony Gwynn Jr., Chris Sello coming up next on Gwynn and Chris on San Diego's number one sports station, 97.3 The Fan.